This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1807, Previews!
Welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Ian Levinstein.
I'm Adam Murdo.
I'm Chris Eberly.
Delightful as always.
Always.
Welcome one and all to the show, and it's previews time. Previews. That mid-month joy we have as we go through the book. You love it, we love it, everybody loves it. And previews number 391, DC Connect number 11, and Marvel number 10.
With perhaps more to come in the months ahead.
I was going to say that eventually it'll be Image number 4, Dark Horse number Q. We're just going to keep getting more and more catalogs on here.
I'm reminded of a crossover sort of thing that Image did in the mid-90s, written by a young Kurt Busiek. It was called Shattered Image, and it was about the consequences of a reverse crisis cosmic event where all the characters in the Image publishing were in one universe, and they were slowly fragmenting into other universes. And it happened right about the time that Rob Liefeld took his toys and left.
So I've never read that. Oh.
Mad Rock disappeared. It was... kind of time.
Wow.
That's kind of what I see happening here to the good old previews catalog.
But what did Image do without Youngblood? I don't know. Like somehow it soldiered on.
Prospered, diversified.
Yeah.
Oh
soldiered on to greater glory, Mike.
Exactly. That's very true. That's very true. Well, as usual, before we get to the mini catalog previews, we are sponsored by you, the listeners. Use. I love doing my point. Over at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. Thank you guys so much for each and every cent that you donate to the show. We would not be able to do this without your support. And it keeps on coming month in and month out. And that's awesome. So, yes, thank you so much.
Here.
Support over there at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. And a reminder, youtube.com/comicgeekspeak for the video version, because this is my favorite video version that we do every month as we read previews along with one another.
And thanks to L. Levinstein for putting that on the screen for everybody.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yep. I'm just glad the technology allows us to at this point.
It is a definite enhancement.
Absolutely. All right, so we start off with Image. And,
actually, Ian, should we note FCBD?
Very good point, actually. Thank you, gentlemen. Yes,
I just realized that myself opening the book. But...
No, that's fine. I mean, right here, I'll put the image up for anybody who is watching visually here. That it is August 14th this year. As the world has been put on pause, so we can't have it in May, but it's August 14th, 2021. Will be Free Comic Book Day in person and digitally. I'm sure there'll be plenty of digital copies available of all these books shortly thereafter.
Yep. Got my fingers crossed that date proves viable after all.
Yep.
Now, page 29 is where that image can be found, by the way, if you're following along in your paper books.
Excellent.
And Ian, I'm assuming it's not linked to any specific movie this year?
Not that I can think of, although I will look to see what's coming out the weekend of August 14th, because maybe one of the Marvels is coming out that week. I don't know.
Black Widow's July, correct?
Yes, that is true. Let's see, August 14th, 2021. I'll put
Suicide Squad is August 6th. I remember that because it's my dad's birthday.
Okay. Movies in theaters. Then I guess maybe that's what they'll be celebrating, because the only things that really come out in I doubt they're celebrating Paw Patrol the movie, because that's one of the few other tent poles of August that I see over here, other than Candyman, Free Guy, and Hotel Transylvania 4.
Okay.
Usually by the time August hits, I mean, whether it's a normal year or not, the pickings get a little bit more slim when it comes to
Yeah.
movies and
True.
summer blockbusters. So yeah, the week before will be Suicide Squad, and that's what we'll have to look forward to. But might as well scroll through the entire Free Comic Book Day catalog here and start us off with that. Excellent point. Anything of note, gentlemen?
I think it's noteworthy that there are no offerings from DC put up
Mm.
so far.
Very good point. Yeah, may very well change for all we know.
We can
You
hope.
know, yep. Marvel, however, does have their Marvel Comics 2021 gold title to be announced, which I'm sure they'll probably announce. If it's August, they'll announce it in June, probably, I'm guessing, or maybe a little bit before then. Whatever their big summer event is going to be, I'm sure it'll tie to that in one way or another.
American Mythology Productions has an offering from the great Don McGregor, World of Zorro,
Ah,
#1. It's always great to see Don McGregor writing. So
Thought that would attract your attention, Chris.
what's the page number on that one?
that is on page 33.
Oh, there we go. Got it. Yep. Yeah, Don McGregor and various Vincenzo Caruto on the art for that. A little bit higher up, actually, there's a Blade Runner one shot. One of these days, I'm gonna have to sit myself down and read these Blade Runner comics that have been coming out more recently. But they've all looked pretty interesting as continuations of the Blade Runner universe. I loved Blade Runner 2049. That was a terrific movie.
I enjoyed it thoroughly too.
Yeah, and
Some people didn't, but I really grooved on it, to quote Murd.
Yep. Yeah, well, this is Mike Johnson and Kay Perkins and Mello Brown with art by Andres Guinaldo and Fernando Dagnino. And that's out of Titan. And right next to that is a Viz Media offering List of the Dead and Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. So I get to say some manga before we actually get to the manga section this time around. All right, what else we got here?
Dynamite has two great offerings: a reprint of Vampirella 1 by the great Christopher Priest, and The Boys Hero Gasm #1 by the dream team of Ennis and McRae.
Yes, and I know Hero Gasm is going to play very much into the next season of The Boys. From what
I still have to watch that show because I love the comic, so I gotta make that happen.
The show is so much better. It really is.
Really?
I gave up on the comic about halfway through because which kind of happens to me with most Garth Ennis comics. I can only take so much of them before they get too Ennis-y, if that makes any sense. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like he can be a lot. And I got to about issue 50 and had to give it up from there. It was getting too ridiculous for me, but I know it's not the case for everybody. But
I write his books all the way to the end.
It's a lot more grounded in the Prime version. It's still insane at times,
as it should be.
Oh yeah, way more character building, I feel like, and you just get to know the personalities of everybody way better.
Well, Ian, one thing I mentioned to kind of go along with your theme there is that I just got and started to read in trade the sort of the epilogue story of The Boys, Dear Becky, which I'll talk about when I finish in our next comic talk. But that's very character driven. I think you have to finish The Boys to really fully appreciate it. But I think it's something you jazz on a little bit, actually.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure eventually I'll go back to it. It's just like right now my Ennis level is still at a low. I'll have to get up there eventually. How about right underneath that, the Fantagraphics offering by Ed Piskor, Red Room?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a new series. Just the first issue was just solicited in the catalog before this. So any of you out there who are fans of Ed Piskor but are maybe a little leery of this new concept, which looks kind of hardcore, horror / satire, here's a chance to sample it for free and see what you think. It's a brand new story created exclusively for FCBD.
Excellent.
His X-Men history was tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Oh,
absolutely, indeed.
I have to go back to my childhood on page 38, a new Smurfs comic.
Very good.
Already I can hear that, to some people, excruciating theme in my head.
La, 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 la. Oh, I was a true Smurfophile myself.
Yeah, that and the Snorks were my jam.
Oh, the Snorks.
Yep. Which are basically just underwater Smurfs anyway.
Exactly.
Actually, Ian, it says there's going to be a new animated series premiering on Nickelodeon this fall. As I look at the copy.
Okay. All right. Interesting that it says Nickelodeon. I wonder if that's eventually going to say Paramount Plus, because something we haven't talked about on the show, but the Star Trek series that the lovely Benson sisters are working on is now going Paramount Plus first, rather than premiering on Nickelodeon. It will make its way to Nickelodeon, but it's going to premiere first on Paramount Plus.
Is that going to be Nickelodeon proper or Nicktoons?
Nickelodeon proper, I believe.
No. Excellent. I'll be able to see it. Great. I'm really looking forward to that, because Prodigy it's a strong concept. It's like a team of spacefaring juvenile delinquents who are all non-human alien species.
Is right up Murd's alley.
Wonderful. Yes, I know. I'm science fiction. No matter what the franchise, I'm in it. I'm in science fiction for the aliens. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And yes, it's the fact that this crew has no humans whatsoever is very appealing to me.
And my favorite coffee drinking captain, Janeway, will be a part of it in one way or another. So that's
I heard that too.
Yep. Right next to the Smurfs, a friend of the show, Jeremy Whitley, has a School for Extraterrestrial Girls, also coming out from Paper Cuts.
And that's a very talented artist, Jamie Noguchi,
Indeed.
doing the penciling there.
I love the Breakfast Club-esque cover.
Yes, there. Right. Great riff.
All right. Anything else scream out to you guys?
I'm good.
All right. I think that's pretty much it for me too. So I think we can roll over to Image.
We should point out it's been 20 years now of FCBD. 20 years.
Yeah. Does that also count last year not happening? Because I think last year was originally supposed to be the 20th anniversary, but don't quote me on that.
I'm not sure about that actually, but
I think it was 2001.
It was 2001.
Yeah, because actually, I had read up to about that point in my time bubble reading. So
got it.
Tremendous.
Very good. Very good. Oh, you know what? Actually, one more. Vampire the Masquerade: Winter's Teeth by Tim Seeley. Vampire the Masquerade is a very popular role-playing game along the lines of Dungeons and Dragons, only with vampires. And I know some friends of mine used to play it when they were in their teens. And it's interesting to see it being restarted here, especially with a name with like Tim Seeley behind it in comic book form. So that could be very interesting out of Vault. All right, let's roll it over to Image.
So Ian, let me right off the bat, let me tap your extensive multimedia knowledge. Yes. Is there a Netflix show going on now that I just completely missed?
Not yet, but the trailer is out. And it will be premiering sooner than later. If not in June, then maybe before then. Yeah, Mark Miller signed a contract with Netflix a long time ago.
Right, I knew that, yeah.
Yeah, and this is finally coming to fruition in that way. Pretty much everything other than Kick-Ass was part of that deal. So they can make anything they want out of any of the Millerverse stuff other than Kick-Ass, which already has a license to it.
So have any of us read the original Jupiter's Legacy? I read part of it.
Not I.
No?
No.
Murd?
I've skimmed it.
Okay.
I think the first two miniseries I think I have in my possession. If there was after that, I skipped that.
Yeah, I read. This is going back quite a while now, so I don't remember. I remember enjoying it, but I think I only read maybe the first arc. So perhaps I'll have to go back and read all up on all that before this and looking into the show.
Quitely did the art for the first one, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, having Tommy Lee Edwards on this one is no slouch. I mean, he's a terrific artist. So yeah, I mean, interested to see where it's going to go. I mean, I know it's it's pretty much exactly what the title says, isn't it? Like it's the legacy of a Superman-esque character, and
it's been quite a few years, but the first arc, if I remember correctly, was about the next generation who are the offspring of these like original iconic heroes and the troubled dynamic going on. I remember really enjoying it, but this is quite a while ago, so I have to really go back and read it all. But
yeah.
I mean, it's like the hinterland of my memory. Kind of see it. But,
because I was going to say, for a while there, Miller was coming out with a whole bunch of brand new properties, and then he just sort of stopped for a while, and because his attention was elsewhere, and this was definitely part of that boom of Miller, but not for Boom Studios. For at the time, Icon, I think now over at Image. Yep.
All right, Icon was the brief Marvel indie imprint, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or independent creator imprint. Yeah.
Yeah. Powers came out of there. Kick-Ass when it first premiered came out of there. Now this is the big one for this previews on page 52. We have Spawn's Universe.
Oh my God! I look at that cover. I'm suddenly in 1995.
You ain't kidding.
Really?
Oh, mackerel.
So apparently Spawn has still been selling really, really well. And Todd McFarlane decided to expand the universe. And this is exactly what it is. Like, there's going to be, I think, 4 separate Spawn titles coming out from Image on a monthly or bi-monthly basis for a while. And this is one of them, basically making an entire superhero universe out of Spawn's world. And we begin here with writing by Todd McFarlane with art by Jim Chung.
Oh, what a great
Todd
artist.
McFarlane, Steve Segovia, and Marcio Takara.
And J. Scott Campbell covers.
Indeed.
I have to admit, I can't comment on this at all because I think the last time I read Spawn was issue 50, maybe. I don't know, what was that, 15, 20 years ago? I have no idea now.
But I mean, it's just interesting that, I mean, something that could have very easily failed, because I mean that Image itself could have very easily failed.
Oh yeah,
and came damn close. When the quote unquote internal implosion happened, where they all started fighting and jockeying for position and what have you. As stated, Liefeld left. Jim Lee took Wildstorm over to DC. Like all these changes happened, and yet the company of Image remained. And to this day, Larson and McFarlane still stand. So,
and for me, it's the most dynamic publisher in comics.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
yep. So very happy to see that happening. And that's very interesting. But this is interesting in and of itself.
Well, you had me at Greg Rucka.
I know.
I mean, he's not writing it, but I guess he's involved in it. So
Dave Walker and Robert McKenzie are involved. That's good enough for me. Dave Walker involved with anything is a good to hear. Lazarus Sourcebook behind him. Justin Greenwald on the art, who was
Stumptown.
Yep. Yeah. It's about Shahida El Amin, a scholar, cartographer, astronomer, mathematician, scientist, explorer, adventurer, and when need be, two-fisted fighter. Oh, 5-issue mini here.
Well, anything. I mean, it's the fact that it's exploring the 13th century.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love historical stuff like that.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
From 13th century Middle East to 13th century Wales.
Yep.
Yeah. Is this a part of the old guard world? Do you think, or does it just have some creators in common?
I think it's just creators in common, or else they probably would have said that a little bit more firmly. Because just saying reteaming from the pages of, I'm sorry, reteaming from the pages of the old guard Tales Through Time. So yes, they couldn't have said that more confusingly, Murd. Because it certainly does sound like, yes, maybe it does take place in the old guard universe, but
I don't think it does, though.
Yeah, right. Maybe they just want us to think that.
Exactly. Yeah. A new direction in adventure with Compass. Yeah. Like, I swear they probably would have just said from the pages of old guard at the front, if it was involved with it. So yeah.
You got to stop here.
Yeah. Oh my. Wowzers.
Mr. Mojo.
Oh, rising.
My father still swears he's alive.
He's not alive.
I know. Like he swears he's on an island somewhere, that he ran off because of taxes or what have you, and that Jim Morrison lives. But no, he doesn't.
I've loved the Doors music since I was a teen. And I went through like my phase where I thought Jim Morrison actually wrote good poetry. But he wrote some good lyrics though. And he was backed up by very talented musicians, which he was very fortunate for.
Mm-hmm.
But this just looks really fun. Because it's exploring one of those great sort of urban myths of the history of rock music. So Jim Morrison isn't dead. He's hiding on an island. I saw him with my own eyes.
but that's and again, coming from the creators of Paul is Dead, so this is essentially, what other sequel could you possibly have to Paul is Dead other than Jim Lives?
Well, apparently there's going to be one more after this, because the copy says it's part of a trilogy. So we'll see what other member of the 27 Club they'll focus on next.
Could be 27, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain.
That's true.
The Rolling Stone, Brian. Oh, I'm shameful right now.
Brian Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Of the Rolling Stones. I think he was 27.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably other people I'm forgetting.
There was a Charles Soule series that came out from Image called 27. That was kind of all about the 27 curse for musicians. I have that on my shelf. It's a pretty good book. All right, what else we got here?
Well, that thing you're scrolling past right now certainly caught my eye.
By all means.
I mean, it's 12.9. Okay, this is on page
62.
62. Thank you, Ian.
Mm-hmm.
And also 63. There's some sample art pages, but it's a graphic novel. It's really only 72 pages long for $12.99, which is a little steep for what it is. But it's called Cain and Abel, and it combines the talents of Crent Abel and Shaky Cain, who is a British independent cartoonist who's done some other things for Image that I've enjoyed: Cap'n Dinosaur, The Beef, The Bulletproof Coffin. So yeah, I appreciate his creative style, which I would describe as just think back to those days of yore when comic books had kind of shady fly-by-night ads in the back for things like X-ray specs, live sea monkeys, glow-in-the-dark skeletons, your very own 6-foot-tall Frankenstein puppet. Just imagine if those things were stars of their own comic books. And that's about what Shaky Cain's work is largely like. It's a little bit lurid and strange, but in a fun and playful and dynamic kind of way. And we've got kind of an anthology of different stories starring characters like the astounding Shield Bug and Nightmare and Sleepy, who are actual, albeit obscure, Golden Age comics characters.
Really?
Who are in the public domain now. And so Shaky Cain is using them to tell his own stories. It's about a costumed wrestler and his young partner.
I love the artwork. Artwork is fabulous.
It's gorgeous, and it kind of has like a Mad Max-esque vibe to it that I'm really digging. Wow.
Yeah, so if I may not be able to resist that, although $12.99 is, again, kind of a lot.
There'll be a discount for DCB service.
That is true.
64. What a name. The Six Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton by Kyle Starks with art by Chris Schweizer. And it's for fans of Chew and Assassination. That's a step in the right direction. Comes a new action mystery series from Eisner Award nominees Chris Schweizer of Krogan Adventures and Kyle Starks of Sex Castle. God, what a name. The world's most unlikable action star has been found dead, and his previous TV sidekicks are looking to solve the mystery. But how can you catch a murderer when almost everyone hated the victim? I want this to be a movie already, because it would be one heck of a movie. This would be Knives Out in a whole new way, and immediately that's the vibe that I get from this. Is that is that type of story, and I'm in. This looks really cool.
Yeah, the creative team impresses me. I mean, Kyle Starks, I believe he wrote some Rick and Morty stories over at Oni.
I believe
and
so.
Chris Schweitzer, I recognize from it mentions the Krogan Adventures series of all ages historical graphic novels, which Jamie was a strong proponent of those while he lived. And I think he would join me in encouraging you, if you have young readers at home, to seek those out, those Krogan books. Because the framing device is it's a father telling his two sons about different famous adventurers that they have among their ancestors. So each one is set in a different time period. There's a pirate story, there's a French Foreign Legion story, etc.
Very cool.
And here Schweitzer applies his talents to something a little more mainstream.
I feel like also, like I threw Knives Out out. Maybe I should also throw out Scott Pilgrim, because with the collection of the 7 evil X's or what have you, these are the 6 sidekicks, and trying to figure out who killed the main and what have you. So yeah, very cool. Anything else in Image?
Page 69, Ian, because you're a Joshua Williamson fan.
Yes, I am.
I've never read this series. Have you read Birthright at all?
I have not yet, but I plan on it. I know that my comic timing co-host Brent Casina, that is, I'll plug his YouTube channel, youtube.com/BK's Bullets, if you want to check him out. But he swears by Birthright, and I've heard praise in many other places, and amazing that it's now reached 50 issues like this. That's great.
Well, it's the last issue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so it's a complete story.
Yeah, one last enemy remains before Mike Rhodes' adventure can finally come to an end, and it's great when you see a series mapped out where it ends on issue 50, and there you go. You got 50 issues. You can read a full story. That's great. So good for Joshua Williamson, and for that matter, this is 2 books closing for Joshua Williamson because like his Flash run ended, Birthright ended. I'd love to see what's next for him.
I'm looking on page 77.
Okay.
So this combines 2 genres I love: Dracula and California in the early 70s. Look at that cover, Murd. Look at that cover.
Oh, I'm looking.
Oh my God. So grindhouse it hurts. I love it.
Yep. So crime scene photographer Quincy Harker is the only man who knows it happened. In other words, so Dracula's bride's down to the bottom of his coffin, and then in Los Angeles, an agent star decides to raise the stakes. I'm sure pun fully intended.
Right.
Are Dracula's 3 brides there to help him or use him as bait? A pulpy, I'm already in with that word, pulse-pounding graphic novel of California's psych horror. I think I'll be trying this one.
Yeah, and it's Alex DeCampi. It's called Dracula, mother effer.
Art by Erica Henderson. Huh. The same Erica, I think it was Erica Henderson. She did the art for Squirrel Girl for a while there for Marvel.
Yes, I believe you're right. Yeah. And this is a resolicit. So this is a series that came out a while ago from the looks of it, and now it's back in print. So yeah, I missed it the first time around, but this does seem right up pretty much all of our alleys.
Yep. I wanted to point out, just because it doesn't come out regularly, so when it does, it needs to be automatically praised. On page 90, The Return of Lazarus. And what Ruck and Lark have been doing, and this to me, this is one of the greatest series in comics in recent years, but they've moved to like almost like a prestige bound format, and they're releasing the book now, I think quarterly. So it's, what is it, $7.99, but it also has extensive, because it's Ruckus, there's extensive back matter material in each issue as well.
Rucka and Lark, we might add, not just Rucka.
Yes, thank you. Yes. And I've praised this book effusively since it came out, however many years back. But I'm always thrilled to see it return. I have complete faith in Ruck and Lark's vision. And if you, again, just quickly, if you enjoy your dystopia to a really perhaps uncomfortable degree, because this is the America that might happen. And as the more you read and the more you look at our country today, it could happen. All I'll say is it's corporate families take over the world.
Yeah.
And countries basically cease to exist as we know them. So it's one of the great series in comics. So I go back, get the first trade. I think they have like a big bound hardcover, all kinds of things like that. But it's tremendous.
Meanwhile, there's something missing from the image section here.
Have you heard anything? Because you always have your ear to the train tracks.
Nothing new. The last we heard about Saga is that it was coming back eventually. Brian K. Vaughan keeps saying that, and we don't get any firm dates. And I think he does this on purpose. And watch it all just drop at once. Like we're just gonna get like 25 issues at once, and just be like, okay, this is the end of it, and now you can.
Well, considering I want to say was it 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
The way he stopped the book, like the last thing that happened before the hiatus, you're like, oh my God. I can't wait.
It's funny too. It was right around the time I joined the regular cast of CGS, because I remember like on like one of my second or third previews, that was the last solicited Saga. And then it ended. So clearly it's my fault. I don't know.
Honey, you could just scroll back to page 94.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yes, get your Radiant Black enjoyment in now. Yep.
Look at that cover.
It looks so good. I will catch up. I have to. I'll probably wind up just straight up buying the first trade, but yeah, I need to catch up, definitely.
Again, I'll save most of this for comic talks, but if you love the superhero concept, this is the book you should be reading.
Yep. I bought something today.
Kyle Higgins, man. Kyle Higgins.
I bought something today digitally, Chris, that I'm sure we'll both be talking about when you do get your hands on it, and that's Zdarsky's new Spider-Man.
Oh, yes. Looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else for Image, gentlemen?
I think that's all from me. Everything's pretty much where. Well, you know what? I'll mention this just in passing. Stray Dogs number 5 of 5 on page 97. So if you were waiting for the end of the mini-series here, this is the conclusion, which means we'll be getting a collection of it soon enough. Tony Fleeks and Trish Fornster's Stray Dogs.
I love the Friday the 13th homage cover.
Oh, it's great. Part 5.
All right, as we enter Dark Horse, Murd, begin.
All right. Well, it would appear that we've got a second volume or season, whatever terminology you will, of Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology. He's been pairing with a number of really talented artists to retell classic Eddic sagas here in this ongoing series. And it's back to P. Craig Russell again for Norse Mythology Volume 2, Number 1. Yes, explore the origins of poetry, good and bad, in this tale of malicious dwarfs, suspicious giants, and the wise god Kvasir, whose eventual fate leads to the creation of a powerful mead that many will fight and die for. Have you tried mead before, Ian?
Yes, I have actually. I actually have some friends who have made mead. So yeah, I've had at least 3 or 4 different varieties. It's incredibly sweet. So it's only really for people who like that type of alcohol, but it can be quite tasty.
It's on my long-term to-do list to try some of that eventually.
It's fermented from honey usually,
right?
Which hence the sweetness, but at the same time can be very delightful.
I'm counting on it.
Excellent. Yeah, just also randomly, can I just comment on how classic and excellent Dark Horse's logo continues to be?
Yes.
It's one of the few that just stands in there, especially now that it's reached 35 years. There's nothing to change about it. It's just classic and perfect.
I agree.
Yeah. Of course, now that I said that, they'll change it, but go figure. Here we are, more Black Hammer on page 104. A new 12-issue miniseries.
Man,
Black Hammer Reborn. That's a massive series.
Yeah. Yes. Again, we've talked many times about the series. I praise it ad infinitum or ad nauseum, depending on your perspective. This is another series that, if you love the superhero concept, if you love sort of a deconstruction or another way of looking at like golden age concepts, you must read this book.
Yep.
It's one of the most exciting titles in recent years.
And can we comment on the fact that this 12-issue mini, Andy Parks on the art, along with Kate Winiarski. That's awesome.
Yep.
Very cool.
Colors by the legendary Dave Stewart.
Yep. And we got a Galactus-esque character on the first preview page here. Yeah, this is going to be good.
Yep, that's the being.
The anti-god.
That set it all in motion. The one that resulted in the crisis-like event that sent the first group of cast members of Black Hammer to the other dimensional farm to which they found themselves vanished.
Yes.
Very cool. Page 106. With a tagline like Lobo meets the Big Lebowski, but with more censored, The Worst Dudes number 1, Aubrey Sitterson, with Tony Gregori on art. Aubrey Sitterson is a name I've heard a couple times, mostly in the world of professional wrestling. He wrote the comic book story of professional wrestling. He also had a popular wrestling podcast for a while. And now here he is with a comic book out of Dark Horse. This seems like it's like Bill and Ted-esque insanity with like more profanity from the sounds of it. And yeah, I might be in on this.
Well, if you're gonna compare yourself or try to be adjacent to one of the most perfect films ever made, The Big Lebowski.
Yep.
Those are significant. That's a significant bathrobe or cardigan to fill. So
it was a good rug.
Oh, whoa, 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 look at that cover. Go back to that.
Oh yeah.
Skull Digger.
Black Hammer Visions, number 5 of 8. Kelly Thompson on the writing and Leonardo Romero on the art and cover. Beautiful.
Yep.
Absolutely beautiful. That's on 107. And then, gentlemen, page 108, Cullen Bunn with a new miniseries. Dark Horse.
And Andrea Moody on the art. Oh,
yeah.
Right. Of the Brian Wood Rebels series, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Parasomnia. It's after his son disappears, a broken down man braves a nightmarish dreamscape in order to find him and battle the ruthless cult that seeks to rule the land of dreams as the barrier between realities starts to collapse. Kind of sounds like Inception meets Sandman. I'm surprised they didn't have that tagline on here somewhere, but I wrote it for you, Dark Horse. You're welcome. Looks very cool.
Yeah, it sure does. Look at that artwork. Oh.
Beautiful. All right, what else we got in Dark Horse?
Let's see if anything else I wanted to shout out.
Well, I might as well. 112, Lost on Planet Earth. It's the trade paperback collection of Mags Visaggio's originally digital series, Lost on Planet Earth. It's 2381, and Basil Miranda on the verge of graduation knows exactly what she's doing with the rest of her life, and always has. A primo assignment on the best ship in the fleet alongside her best friend in the world. So kind of a Star Trek-esque story, but shockingly, everything goes horribly, horribly wrong because nothing is ever going to go perfect in a story like this. Lost on Planet Earth, Max Visaggio and Claudia Aguirre on page 112, collecting the originally digital series into one volume.
Page 119. I just want to mention again that Matt Wagner, I think it was delayed for a while, but he's finishing up his latest Grendel series, Grendel Devil's Odyssey, which follows the quest of Grendel Prime. I started reading this and then I fell off, not because I wasn't enjoying it. So I look forward to when the trade comes out. Again, one of the great living masters of the medium, working on one of his 2 great creations. So if you like Wagner's work and you've enjoyed Grendel, from what I read of this, definitely check it out.
Excellent.
Anything else for Dark Horse, gentlemen?
I think that's just about it. I will mention issue 3 of 4 of Jenny Zero is solicited. So those of you who listened to our previous episode a couple months back with Dave DeWanch, this is issue 3 of 4 of the Jenny Zero miniseries. So if you are following it, page 122 has issue 3 of 4 for you to check out.
On page 125, we've got a collection of Mike Barron and Steve Rude's Nexus newspaper strips. I didn't even know that there was a Nexus newspaper comic.
Neither did I.
Yes, talking of the Big Lebowski and famous dudes, if you're a fan of Rude the Dude. And this could be kind of a rarity as far as his work is concerned. Yeah, Nexus is the story of a man named Horatio Hellpop, who is he's sometimes called Nexus the Executioner. I think he's kind of a cosmic vigilante. He's driven by compulsive dreams to go out and use the cosmic powers he has to kill evildoers. Although I think he kind of moves past that murderous vigilante role as the series wears on. It's been going on for a very long time, by the way. It dates back to the 80s. And it's got kind of a, thanks in large part to Steve Rude's artwork, it's got kind of a quirky, kind of retro Silver Age at times feel to it, all its own. And it's it's among the best of the late 80s independent comics. So it's a series you should probably check out if you never have. And if you're already a fan, then this is something you might not have encountered because, as I said, I didn't even know that there was a Nexus newspaper comic. And here, thanks to Dark Horse, we have a collection of it.
Go figure. All right, and I think that's it for me here. But you know what? One more. Page 129. Anybody who's ever watched the Vampire Hunter D movie, there were 2. But it's a classic, and here is the omnibus of the manga.
Oh, what an
Vampire-
artist! Oh,
oh, absolutely gorgeous. Hideyuki Kikuchi on writing and Yoshitaka Amano on the art.
and he drew Sandman the Dream Hunters.
Yes,
which is a classic.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And a bunch of Final Fantasy stuff, and yeah, he's done tons of excellent stuff over the years, and this is the omnibus collection of one of the most beautiful manga ever produced, Vampire Hunter D. So do check that out on page 129. Over 17 million copies are in print worldwide of Vampire Hunter D, and now you get a nice large omnibus of the first couple of volumes. First 3 volumes, to be exact. All right, over to DC.
DC it is.
Let's do it. And we begin with some more stuff. That's the way DC works here. Batman Fortnite crossover. Not for me, but they sure are hoping that it'll be for the kids. Batman Fortnite 0 Point. It's penciled by Riley Brown, so good pedigree there.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Riley Brown did some good Deadpool stuff.
Deadpool,
yep. Excellent artist. And story consultant and concept by Donald Mustard. Love that name.
Notice they're not going so far as to give him credit for writing.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, they're going far enough to just say that he was involved. But right there on the cover, even though it's not in the frickin'
yeah, it's Gage.
Yeah, it's Christos Gage. Like, how about you just say Christos Gage did it? Come on.
Really?
Yeah, Gage and Brown is an excellent team. And yeah, it's a crossover of one of the most popular video game series for kids right now. DC has had some Fortnite content in there, so Fortnite has had some DC content in their games, which makes sense to cross over into the comics as well. So if you want to check that out, it's there for you. Collect the solicit the first 2 issues, and Christos Gage's name is not in the solicitations for either one, even though he's on the cover. Frustrating. Very frustrating.
Oh, I love when you get frustrated.
And there's number 3, and
the wrath.
3, all the way down the line. I was looking for an actual writer, and I didn't think to look on the cover.
Yeah. It's like, it's not like they're hiding it. Like, unless somehow Christos dropped out and they forgot to take his name off of the cover. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me, but that's weird solicitation stuff there for you.
Well, maybe they are. Maybe they actually are hiding the fact that this isn't written by Donald Mustard.
I guess, yeah. But oh well. What are you gonna do? Oh look, there's more. Okay, fine. We're finally somewhere else with the one with the issue that I'm actually really looking forward to.
There's your man, Joshua Williamson.
There's my man, Infinite Frontier #1. Joshua Williamson, art by Zermanico, and he's not done with Barry yet, because Barry Allen is a member of this multiversal team.
Mm-hmm. Along with his ex-Titans teammate, Roy Harper, I see.
Yes, indeed. Yep. And Jade, Obsidian, Sentinel.
Mm-hmm. And their newly uncloseted dad.
Indeed. Yep. And Baracco Superman. I am really looking forward to this. I mean we've mentioned enough times on the show, both Murd and I have mentioned we're huge fans of Exiles, and anything involving teams traversing the multiverse, I'm in for. And this looks like it's going to be right up my alley.
And I'm hoping it'll, in addition to all the great, character stuff and, exploring the richness of the DC multiverses, metaverse, whatever, I'm hoping that there'll be some answers as to what the current status and structure of the multiverses, metaverse, whatever happens to be.
Yep.
In the wake of death metal and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I just comment also just on how gorgeous that Mitch Gerard's cover is? It's just so nice.
Dark Side.
Love it. Is. On the very next page, we get a Secret Files featuring...
Secret Files are always fun.
Mm-hmm. Page 8, Williamson, Thomas, Phillips, Dan Waters with art by Various.
Was it in the 2000s where DC did a lot of those secret files? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, it was late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, okay.
Right. The first one I can recall is from the Morrison Justice League run. So that would have been I can remember reading it after my wisdom teeth were removed, and that was the summer of 1997. So that's as far back as it goes.
It's funny too. I remember one time, like long after Secret Files were really like a thing, I went into Bulletproof Comics. I was still, I guess I was either still in college or just after college, and I was still going to Bulletproof for my comics in Brooklyn. And just randomly on the shelf, they made it look like it was a new issue because it was there with like almost everything else was this Flash Secret Files, and I'm like, what's that doing there? And then I bought it. I take it home, and I'm like, this is the old Flash Secret Files from like '98. It was just randomly on, with like every other new issue, and I bought it. I enjoyed.
Maybe
it.
someone put it down that forgot to file it in a back issue box.
It's very possible, but they made a sale off of me, so go figure. Meanwhile, Tom King on page 9 with Bilquis Evely, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. This looks interesting.
Beautiful cover. Oh,
yep. Kryptonian holding up a sword. I'm 90% in already.
Yep.
And there's crypto.
There is also crypto, yes. And of course, there's the creative team to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Murd, dare I ask, what is the place of Supergirl in the DC universe now, if that can even be explained?
Not by me at this point.
Okay. All right, I figured. I didn't, I don't know, but
they've done so much. They've done so much to Supergirl since the New 52 in particular. Like there have been like 3 different versions of her. They've all been the same character, but it seems like each reboot gives her a new feel or a new mission. And this seems to be yet again the case, but hopefully this one will be one that sticks.
I'm certainly going to give it a try. The writer alone.
Yep.
This is an example of something that DC has started doing, though, cover price wise. It's reminded me of back in the days when DC was boasting about holding the line at $2.99, while Marvel was holding some books at $2.99, but arbitrarily tacking an extra $1 onto the cover price of other things that they thought was going to sell well.
Yeah.
And now here's DC with most of their line at $3.99, and occasionally a 32-page comic will have an extra $1 at its price tag for no particular reason. So
Let me also
happening with Supergirl and just about all the Batman titles too.
Yeah. Let me also point out something. I'm going to highlight this right here. 1 of 8. Usually that's up here. And I'm just getting really annoyed with these solicitations. I feel like you have to like go with a microscope to find out that something's going to be a miniseries because I'm not going to pick this up in singles knowing that there's only 8 issues because frankly, that's the way that I go. I need to get things collected rather than spend money on something, especially as you pointed out, Murd, it's $5. How much is the collection going to cost? Probably less than $5 an issue. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, let me see.
Maybe I'm sorry. Go ahead, Murd. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was say maybe I'll just buy the first issue, try it out, and then wait for the trade.
Yeah, you could do that.
Might do that.
Yep.
Because you're right. That is going to be a hefty price tag by the end of it, if they're all that price.
And it'll be on Infinite, in a couple of months afterwards.
Yeah.
I may just wait for that even. So yeah. But I do love this image right here. That's man. The image they put on the very next page with her with the sword and Crypto in the background. Ooh, that's some pretty stuff.
Crypto looks so enthusiastic.
Always.
He's a good boy.
Whistle, a new Gotham City hero.
Yeah, I think this is a resolicit.
I think you're right, actually. Yeah, I think this might have been one of the ones that was solicited, earlier in 2000 and may have just been held up by everything. But this is another of the young adult books by E. Lockhart and Manuel Praetano, all part of the graphic novel line that DC's been putting out lately. All about about a woman, basically a woman living in Gotham City and looking to keep her family afloat. Interesting enough.
I like the artwork quite a bit.
Yeah, very nice. And here we are with DC Pride for Pride Month, LGBTQIA characters and creators all getting together. We got Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Midnighter, Extraño. Don't know who Extraño is.
Oh my goodness, they're bringing him back. Okay, he was a part of back in the late '80s, in the wake of the Millennium event. There was a team called the New Guardians.
Okay.
Right, I remember that title.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Extraño was one of them. He was a gay Latino character, and not the most sensitive portrayal of a gay man, but at least it was something. And yes, anything was better than the nothing that the '80s usually had to offer. But I guess they're trying to redeem that concept by bringing it back here in the 2020s.
Yep. And this issue will introduce Dreamer into the official DC universe, who originally appeared on Supergirl on the CW. That's a trans character that they introduced onto the CW series, and now here we are bringing her over into the main DCU. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, played as a distant ancestor of Dream Girl of the Legion. For those keeping score at home.
Yep. That's on page 14 there. Many different creators, many different characters. And of course, Renee Montoya and Pied Piper. So that immediately has me interested. All right. Another new series. I'm not going to really touch on it too much though, but it's called Crushing Lobo. It's about Lobo, and it looks like a female Lobo.
His daughter.
Yeah, oh, daughter. Okay, gotcha. Mariko Tamaki on the writing. I'm sure it's going to be hella fun. But cover by Chris Anka, and that's immediately what drew me to it, because he just is still so good.
Oh, that's a great cover.
Yeah, he's just so good at draftsmanship, and he does it again here.
See, whenever I think of Lobo now, I just think of Child Lobo and Young Justice. Just how superb that was.
Yes, Lobo, exactly.
So good.
Another resolicit as well. Poison Ivy Thorns was definitely solicited before, but that's on page 17. All right, what else we got here, gents?
As you pass Harley Quinn, I just wanted to mention I had some friends over this past weekend, and people were raving about the Harley Quinn animated series. Just to piggyback on what you guys have been saying, I really have to watch this show, because everybody I talked to is just raving about it.
It's so good, and it's not only is it hilarious, but they also just managed to get the characters right, even ones that they've changed significantly. It's really, really good. Plus an absolutely hilarious broken Commissioner Gordon, played by Christopher Maloney.
Wait a minute. Did I see Garth? Yes, I did see Garth with Liam Sharp.
Yep. Page 22, Batman Reptilian. Interesting. What strikes fears into the hearts of those who terrorize Gotham? It used to be Batman, but something far more frightening than a mere man stalks the shadows. And it's after Gotham's villains.
I don't care what it is. It's Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp. I'm getting it.
I mean, is this supposed to be like a Killer Croc origin story, or is it something other than Killer Croc? That's the question.
Well, let me provide a public service here and let you guys know that this is, in fact, a 6-issue miniseries.
I thank you.
I had to do some outside research to learn that DC seems to have forgotten to include the information in the solicit. Again.
Oh boy. Come on, guys. Come on. We run a preview show here. We got to tell them what the books actually are. Well, this I can tell you. It's season 2 of Batman: The Adventures Continue.
Ty Templeton. Oh, fantastic.
Yep. And Alan Burnett and Paul Dini.
Yep. Great stuff.
Can't beat that on page 24. And you got Dead Man on the cover. Gets me super interested.
So, Event Leviathan Checkmate. I didn't really follow the Leviathan storyline. I think I read the first one, and that was it. Has anybody read this in more detail or knows more about it? Or
well, I skimmed it.
Okay.
And, the basic premise is it's a gathering of a bunch of characters with kind of an investigatorial bent. Characters who are known, who are detectives and or into espionage and spycraft, including Dick Grayson, who was an agent of Spiral for a time,
Right.
after all. And it's just Bendis gathering them together to go up against this counter-espionage organization called Leviathan, who is headed up by a costume figure who calls himself Leviathan, who is also a pre-existing DC Universe character, whose identity I don't think I'm going to divulge here. But it's not a huge reveal. It's probably not a character either of you guys care about all that much. But he's
But someone else might, so I appreciate that, Murd.
yes, he's got a tie of legacy to one of the characters on that cover that we're seeing there.
Okay.
Well, it's that this is one of the all-time great Daredevil creative teams working on this book.
That is true.
So,
I could also make a guess as to who it would have a history of, considering who is on the cover.
And which one is a part of the most obvious legacy?
Exactly. Yeah. But I'll leave that for you people to guess as well, even though I think I may have already guessed it.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a Leviathan or Event Leviathan follow-up last year, but again, it was 2020, so I guess we're just now coming back to that and picking up the pieces.
I mean, I am curious as to what Bendis is going to do with an idea like Checkmate. Obviously, Rucka did such a good job with it back in the day.
oh, that was such a great series. Woo!
Yep.
Oh.
Just now getting to it. I'm halfway through the earmark project.
Ah, fantastic. Love it, love it, love it.
You know, just seeing those characters, I've never read, and I've always heard it's wonderful, the Manhunter series.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, you've read it? Okay, I've heard nothing but good things about that series.
It's a gem, and Draco did such a good job with that series. Both versions of it, actually, because it had 2 volumes, if I remember correctly. It got canceled, and then they brought it back after fans basically demanded it, and it was really well done.
Was the second volume in the New 52? Or
I think it was 1 year later, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
so pre New 52. There may have also been a New 52 series at maybe, but what I'm thinking of came before the reboot. Plus, she had a time in Gail Simone's Birds of Prey. She was a regular character in that for a little bit. 80th anniversary.
80th anniversary.
Yep. A whole bunch of people involved with it. I mean, Lemire, Grell, Hester, Tom Taylor, Devin Grayson. Very, very good to see that many names involved here for the 80th anniversary. I'm surprised they didn't manage to get Kevin Smith, though.
That's right.
Yeah, you would think that they would have at least. I mean, maybe they asked him and he just wasn't available. But page 27, celebrating the 80th anniversary of one of DC's greatest heroes.
I'm sorry. Scroll back just a moment there.
Sure.
I love that Longbow Hunters tribute.
Yes.
Cover there.
Yep, absolutely.
That's such a good story.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different variants they put out to celebrate the different eras.
Yes, that's the Mike Grell era. Yep, great.
Yeah, but I'm glad that we get a Connor one here.
Yep.
Right underneath to celebrate the 90s. All righty. Anything else of note before we hit trades?
I think I'm good.
Well, that Flash
Murd?
annual you're scrolling past there on page 30 something.
35.
35. Yeah, that is apparently the finale of the Surge storyline written by new writer Jeremy Adams, which is reintroducing Wally West.
Very good.
His jaunt through time, occupying the bodies of speedsters past.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. There was some talk on the supergroup of the first issue being pretty good, so I'll certainly have to track that down and check it out now that Wally's back. I demanded it, so I better damn well read it. Now they're doing the black and gold treatment with Wonder Woman. They did Superman red and blue. They did Batman black and white. And now here's Wonder Woman black and gold with John Arcudi, Amy Reeder, Becky Cloonan, AJ Mendez, and Nadia Shamus on writing. Ryan Sook, Amy Reeder, Becky Cloonan, Ming Doyle, and Morgan Beam on the art on page 37.
That's an impressive roll call right there.
It is. Like I've said before, anthologies are back. at least when it comes to DC. And glad that they're giving Wonder Woman the treatment.
I'm sorry. Go back to that Superhero Girls.
Yep. Page 40. DC Superhero Girls Ghosting by Amanda Dabert and Yancy Labatt. Looks like super fun. Have you watched any of the series by any chance? Because it's actually pretty good.
I have not. No.
They go surprisingly deep into DC lore at times. Like they'll get characters you wouldn't expect to find in animated series every now and then to pop up.
I think the art teacher at the Superhero Girls school is Crazy Quilt.
Yes. You are correct. Yeah. And I'm really digging the series. Watched a whole bunch of it randomly. But then the very next page, because we demanded it. on page 41.
Don't look at me.
Oh, I know. We get ourselves the adaptation of the new Space Jam movie, which kind of looks a lot like Ready Player One from the trailer that I watched.
I never saw the original Space Jam movie.
I did. I took a date.
Outstanding.
What a night.
Murd pulling back the curtain. Oh, incredible.
I remember that there is the crappiest movie theater, which I wonder if it's actually still opened now that, the world has changed, in Brooklyn on Coney Island Avenue and like Avenue J or H or what have you. It used to be a 1 theater. They converted it into a 3 theater. The stickiest floors you've ever seen in your life. And absolutely no sound insulation in between the theaters. So like you could hear everything that's happening in the theater next to you.
Great.
That's where I saw the original Space Jam. It was one of the few movies I saw there as a kid. And that's what I remember more than anything else is the theater more than the movie. I mean, but let me see if I can find it real quick. There's still a history tome on the internet. The original Space Jam website still exists.
Yeah, nobody bothered to take it down.
Now, let me see if it's still. Yes, it is. Okay, all right. I'm going to bring this into the video just so you can see this real quick. This is the Space Jam website. I absolutely love. Sorry, let me switch the screen because then you'll actually see it. There we go. Yeah. This is pure 90s website. And it still exists. I'm sure I'm surprised it doesn't have a in construction blinking GIF on it just to make it even better. But yeah, I love that this exists.
The Warner Studio Store.
Yep, exactly.
That also existed in 1996.
Yep. Good times. But yeah, Space Jam: A New Legacy. If those of you who want the adaptation, you can sure get it.
Art by Various.
Mm-hmm.
Various is getting a lot of work these days.
Don't have to iron anything down if you say Various. Okay. Whole bunch of Batman stuff. Batman and Superman. The serial Batman and Superman still have their story running with Jean Lin Yang on page 47. I'll continue to say I love that he did this. I really do. Nobody was asking for it, but I'm glad it's there.
Mm-hmm. Riding into the Wild West. It's giving us a little bit of the fun of the old 90s Elseworld stories.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Page 49, Challenge of the Super Sons #3. I love the cover. The Super Sons are, battling down this giant hulking beast. And do you want a bat mint or something? Guest starring Hawkgirl in this issue, written by Peter Tomasi. The Crime Syndicate series continues. Actual series or miniseries? You be the judge. Because it's no sign of it being a miniseries, but who knows?
It is one. I can confirm.
Oh, okay.
I don't see them trusting the Crime Syndicate with an ongoing series.
I was gonna say, yeah. Although you do get the as the backup story, the origin of Emerald Knight, illustrated by Brian Hitch. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, gents?
I'm good for trades. Murd, you good for trades?
I guess.
All right. Let's trade it over to trades. Everything else that see, that's the thing. When everything else is mid-series, you can sort of wait until it's done to talk about it, and that's pretty much where we are right now with DC. Although, just for you, Murd, I'll point out, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, number 110 on page 68. Shall Fish with another adventure.
Mm-hmm. The ghost of Johnny Appleseed haunting an orange orchard.
Zoinks! There's nothing groovy about this grove.
And their all ages titles are still holding the line at $2.99 even now.
Good.
Including the Batman Scooby-Doo team up, which I of course will be collecting.
Absolutely, as well it should. Let kids buy them. That would be good. Oh wow! Look at this. Look at the cover for Superman Red and Blue number 4. I almost completely missed this. The Romita Jr. cover. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous battle between Bizarro and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And look who's writing the book.
Everybody.
Yep. If that Bizarro story is written by Mark Waid, I mean, it's another one of these $5.99 for 40 pages of story deals. But if Mark Waid is writing the Bizarro cover story, they may get my money.
They mention it first, and Mark Waid's mentioned first, and Francis Matapool was mentioned first. So if it's Waid and Matapool on a Bizarro story, yeah, that's good stuff.
Oh, Chris Sprouse has got some art in here.
Great artist.
Yep. Cully Hamner, Joe Quinones, Audrey Mock, and then Matapool. Although Matapool's also writing something, so I'm going to guess that he's the one who's drawing his own thing. Joshua Williamson, Michael Conrad, and Rich Doak on the writing as well.
Okay. Yeah, if Mark Waid is writing and Chris Sprouse is drawing a Bizarro story in here, they definitely have my money.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yep. That's good stuff right there. And of course,
look at that cover.
Batman and the Scooby Mysteries. Oh my God. All the dogs. All the dogs. Page 74. And yes, you do get Ace the Bat Hound.
The sheer panic on Shaggy's face that's delightful.
So good. Alrighty. Wow. More Flash down here? I'm so confused because there was Flash. There was Flash up there, and now there's Flash down here.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the annuals were up there, and then yet there's more issues of ongoing series down here.
Yeah. I'm giving up on this DC Connect thing. This is, I don't know who designed it this month, but somebody was asleep. That's all I'll say.
I think it was pretty sloppily alphabetized because the Flash and the Joker have the definite article "the" at the beginning of it, so they alphabetized that several pages after Flash Annual, and yeah.
Good point.
Yes, the indexer in me rebels.
We're getting a whole bunch of the future state stuff solicited as trades now. So if you were looking for the future state Batman on page 85, future state Suicide Squad on 86, Wonder Woman on 87, and I think there was one more earlier up. Yeah, the Deceased Unkillables. No, those are the 3. Okay. But either way, those are all being solicited this month in this particular bunch. But get more Justice League Unlimited, specifically Girl Power. I loved the Justice League Unlimited comics when I was a kid, and page 88 collects a whole bunch of them here for you. How about OMAC, Chris? Page 89.
I love Kirby's concepts when he goes over to DC in the 70s. Like, I'm sure many of you have seen the original OMAC 1 cover with
Yep.
like that.
Yeah, the woman's head and limbs sticking out of a big styrofoam cube,
which Olmec is flinging at the audience. Just again, Kirby didn't lose a step when it came to just his visionary approach to new concepts. And there's, I mean, some of the stuff he did for DC. I mean, obviously the New Gods, but Olmec was another example of just incredibly fun. You know, Demon and all that, and you know, Jimmy Olsen and all. There's just Kirby.
Dragging it over, by the way, for anybody who who has never seen that cover before. It is a classic.
A starting look into the world that's coming. I love Kirby the Futurist.
Yep. Absolutely.
Back in the mid-2000s, Golden Eagle was having a cover price back issue sale. And I happened to dig a copy of OMAC #1 out of one of those.
20 cents.
I bought it for 20 cents.
Wow.
It's worth more than that.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Yes. Oh, and this trade still has an introduction by the king himself.
Ah, very good. Happy to see that. And then the second of the 25th anniversary omnibus hardcover collections of Preacher on the very next page, page 90.
Still the most electrifying series read.
Just sticking by my guns to say that I've still never finished Preacher. I got maybe 5 volumes in, and then I still need to finish the rest. I will at some point. It's not that I don't enjoy Preacher. I got distracted by a squirrel and just forgot to get the rest.
And this isn't a confessional. It's okay.
Oh, I know. Just happens to me all the time. It's like, yeah, no, I'm really enjoying this. I wonder what else I could be doing right now. Sweet Tooth is something I've always wanted to check out.
Yeah, I've never read this. I think Deemer raved about this, if I remember correctly.
Oh, many times, yes.
Yeah. He was a Lemire head in the mid-2000s.
Yep. Page 94, written and drawn by Jeff Lemire. And this is the compendium, all 40 issues of Sweet Tooth. Anything else at DC, gents? Maybe we should mention it.
Wow, it's 10 years.
It really is, as of this fall.
Yep. Page 98, the New 52 10th Anniversary Deluxe Edition. And wow. That's really all I can say about it, that it's not so new anymore. And just times change.
For the continuity fan, I mean, not that it really matters, but is this all by the boards now, or does any of it still have a place in what DC is publishing now?
Some of it, whatever was popular, whatever sold. There are plenty of takes on characters that they tried in 2011 that didn't last more than a year or two. I mean, DC Rebirth was kind of a cheap excuse to sweep some of that under the rug, and they've had plenty more rug sweeping opportunities since, what with Dr. Manhattan buzzing about influencing things.
Yep. And I still remember listening very, very closely when you guys reviewed that first New 52 week, and there was it was Flashpoint #5 and Justice League #1. I just found it in now. It was a call-in show on September 1st, 2011, episode 1123 of Comic Geek Speak. Started that out, and then from there, you guys went weekly on the New 52 for a little bit there as the new issues were coming out.
Those were heady times.
Yes, indeed. Yep. All right, I think that's pretty much it from me on DC. Because that's the end of the catalog.
The end of it,
yeah. All right, over to our next publisher, and that would be IDW.
So, Ian, as someone who's not well-versed in the lore and culture of video games, explain to me the significance of Sonic the Hedgehog.
So Sonic the Hedgehog was a turning point in video games because it was during the era where Nintendo won everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then here came Sega with their mascot. And then suddenly the Genesis was cool. And it started a battle for years between Sega and Nintendo for dominance in the video game world. And all through the 16-bit era, Genesis was winning. SNES had a very big install base, but Genesis was a big competitor, and it's why Sega continued to have consoles until the Dreamcast. It was a big changing point for everything. And Sonic himself is a pretty cool character. He's had tons of comics over the years.
And there was a movie not too long ago, correct?
A good movie at that, actually.
Oh, it was good. Okay.
Yeah, it was surprisingly good. I was very, very impressed by it. And really haven't been that big a fan of the 3D Sonic games, but the old school stuff, including Sonic Mania, which came out a little while ago, which is an old school 2D game, are super fun, and I really still dig the character.
Now, does Sega still exist?
Yes, they do. They're
okay.
They're just a publisher now, as opposed to a hardware developer. So they basically cross-publish their games on multiple platforms, which is also why you get to see things like Sonic showing up in Smash Brothers for Nintendo, because now, and there's actually a game that comes out every Olympics called Mario and Sonic Olympic Games, where characters from each franchise get together and have like an Olympic style competition every 4 years. It's a lot of fun, and something that would have never happened if Sega was still making consoles. So interesting times.
Thank you, sir. And now, for pity's sake, please go to page 142.
But of course. There we are, page 142. Oh my. John Buscema's Crying Tear Marvel Heroes Artist Edition.
I'm overcome.
Even an Eberly can cry.
Profusely in this sense, Murd. So, I mean, this is an artist we've talked about many times on this program. One of the greatest comic book artists, certainly of the Silver Age, and he worked into at least through the 1990s. From one of my all-time favorite artists in comics, Big John Buscema. His legendary Avengers run with Roy Thomas is what a lot of people think of right off the bat. But he did Conan. He did, in fact, apparently Conan was one of the favorite things he loved to draw. Actually, that character's world. But Submariner. If you go to the next page, please, Ian.
Yeah, sure. Oh my.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
So when you think about, and again, I'm not an artist, but when you think about things like anatomy and just being able to draw the human figure and in such a compelling way, this is an artist. I think, in fact, I think they even use that phrase in the copy. They do. So I didn't even read it, but yeah. So one of Stan Lee's gifts, which oftentimes overlooked, is that he knew who were the best artists, and he brought them into his stable.
Yeah.
And he just, with the Marvel method, he just let them go. And granted, there's all the controversy with that, but from a creative standpoint, as readers, we're blessed with just this trove of some of the greatest artwork in the history of the medium, and Buscema's right at the top. He co-created this version of the Vision with Roy Thomas, and he gave that character life on the page.
Can we point out, by the way, at the bottom of the solicitation here, bonus, this book will feature several foldouts presenting a number of Buscema's early large covers at full size. A true treat for art lovers.
Yeah. And again, he did a lot of covers. He was all over Marvel in the 60s and 70s, especially, and beyond too. But if you want to get his Avengers run with Roy Thomas, that is some of the greatest Avengers stories of all time. And a lot of the MCU mines a lot of those stories, like Ultron and so forth. Magnificent artist.
Really, and that is the most. I know it's the first issue, but that is the most iconic.
Absolutely, without question.
Cover, period. Yeah, so good. On page 144, Better Place. Dwayne Murray on the writing, artist and cover by Sean Daly. This sidekick misses his superhero. After hearing that his grandfather has gone to a better place, a boy sets off on a grand adventure to find him, dressed as his favorite comic book character. Heart-wrenching, heartwarming copy right there. Dwayne Murray, Sean Daly. This looks like it's going to be great on page 44. Really, really good. Better Place. certified cool in diamond, and I would agree.
There's another artisan edition on page 159, which they're reissuing. Go ahead, Murd. I'm sorry.
Yes, but before we get to that,
Yeah.
we're passing a couple of Godzilla options here on pages 140 and 149.
I had to point that out. Yep.
Those of you who are in the mood for some more of this after seeing Godzilla vs. Kong. The one that's most interesting to me is actually that one at the top of 148, Godzilla Rivals versus Hedorah. Apparently, this is going to be the first in a series of quarterly Godzilla one-shots set from different creative teams and set in different periods of Daikaiju history. This one's by Paul Allor and E.J. Su, and it's set in the 1970s. And it's Godzilla and the monster Hedorah rampaging through New York City. 52 pages, $7.99.
That sounds really, really fun. As was the movie, by the way, I have to point out.
Was the movie fun?
Oh, so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, but but in all the right ways. I mean,
gotcha.
You're just there to watch them fight. It doesn't matter what the story is because there is none. It's great. It really is great.
Was it made in the 70s?
What, Godzilla vs. Kong?
No, versus Hedorah, I meant.
Oh, no. I was talking about the movie.
I beg your pardon. Yes.
Yes.
But yes, I too have seen that movie, and you're right. It's fun in the right ways and stupid in a lot of the wrong ways.
Yes. Gorgeous visuals also once you get to the quote unquote Hollow Earth segment. It's very, very, very pretty visuals there. But the other one that you pointed out, Murd, on 149 is Godzilla World of Monsters.
Great Dave Wachter, one of the artists.
Indeed. Yep. And Lehman, Bunn, and Fialkov on writing. No slouches there.
Nope.
Yep.
So this is a collection of a couple different Godzilla miniseries, I think.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Wait a minute.
Oh, there he is.
Welcome, Gotti.
And Kazuki. Okay.
From my childhood. All right. I lost the projectile fist, unfortunately.
Darn. How about this? Marvel Action Avengers #1. Che Grayson and Ark Revner on the art. Another IDW Marvel Action series. And this one's going to introduce Riri Williams into this all ages Avengers book. Pretty cool. And then, for something completely different on the very next page, Marie Curie, A Quest for Life.
Wow.
About her exceptional life and groundbreaking research, which changed the world, expanded scientific understanding, and creating new opportunities for women, as explored in this lavishly illustrated graphic biography endorsed by the Curie estate.
I love when the comic book medium explores topics like this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Page 151. Yeah. If you wanted to know more about her in visual form, this is the way to do so.
There you go, Murd, My Little Pony.
Yep. Still galloping along.
Mm-hmm. As is the Transformers crossover. Issue
So
3
fun.
or 4 of that one. Yep. All right. And I think that's kind of it for me at IDW, unless something else.
I got a couple things I wanted to point out on page 159.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 156 also, if you didn't notice. Star Wars.
Oh, I didn't see the writer.
Yep.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ian, thank you.
It's another Rucka Star Wars adventure. So
immediately.
Yep.
Immediately.
Especially with Han Solo and Chewbacca involved. That's bound to be good. Page 156 for that one. But you were going to point out on page 159?
Yes, please.
All right, here we are.
So whenever there's a Steranko offering, I always have a bit of a personal reaction because he treated our co-founder Brian Deemer so shabbily at a comic show. But I'm a firm believer in sometimes you have to, the work sometimes has to stand on its own and speak for itself.
Yeah.
And this is one of the. I mean, when we look at the Marvel Silver Age, especially the latter Silver Age, this is one of the most important work coming out of that time period. What Steranko achieved, which many listeners know, in his work on Nick Fury, both in Strange Tales and his eponymous title, dazzling stuff. The way panel layouts, psychedelia, all that he brought into those books. And this collects issues 151 to 162, his Strange Tales run. So if you're interested in Nick Fury and Hydra, just get reprints and read those stories because they're really important. But if you're also interested in Steranko's contributions as an artist, I had this version in my store. I since sold it. I don't have it anymore. But this is a beautiful collection. It does a wonderful job of exploring that period.
Yep, and this is coming out in August. Once again, on page 159, only $40. Not too shabby.
In fact, I'll probably pick that up.
Yeah,
because the artist editions are like they're like I don't know if smaller. They're like smaller versions of artist editions, basically. Mm-hmm. So, Ian, also on page 160.
Before you do, actually,
go
I'm
ahead.
jumping back 2 pages real quick. Just wanted to point out, Senna Grace has a new book on page 157. Senna Grace wrote the Iceman series at Marvel for a little while, and did a really good job of it. This one's called Read Only Memories. It's available in August. It's based on the hit game graphic novel bridges the gap between 2064 Read Only Memories and the upcoming sequel Neurodiver. So this is set in a game universe, but it's got Senna Grace on the writing, so that's really all that matters to me. And everything else looks interesting enough to keep me a little bit intrigued. So page 157 for that one. All right, now where were we?
Page 160.
Mm-hmm.
This is a story I've always wanted to read.
Oh, is this the Claremont?
It's Claremont and Adam Hughes.
Oh, wow.
Star Trek Debt of Honor. And I never read the original story, and it was going to come out a while ago. Then it was canceled, so they've resolicited it here.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Kirk and the crew of the USS Enterprise find themselves teamed with the Klingons and Romulans to fight the galactic threat that no government dares admit exists. So I'm really looking forward. I would certainly be buying this. Based on Kirk's uniform, I'm guessing this is like in the Wrath of Khan era, basically.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited that they've resolicited this book, and I'm really looking forward to reading it.
Same here.
Yeah.
Hell of a creative team, and
yeah.
Even I know that the Enterprise teaming up with Klingons and Romulans is not an everyday occurrence.
No.
Yep. And of course, right on top of that, Chris, as you do point it out almost every time.
Those covers, man.
Covers for Star Trek Year 5 are just so darn pretty.
Yep.
All right. I think that's all for me, and I am ready for Marvel if you're ready for Marvel.
Actually, Murd, Ian, one thing. I'm going to make a pledge.
Yes.
In Deemer's name.
A Usagi
I'm going to get this book because I've never read an Usagi Yojimbo book in my reading life. Okay. So I've heard nothing. Deemer, I know, raves about this comic.
Yes, he does.
So as only he can rave about something. So I'm going to get this.
And again, it will supposedly be making its way to I forget if it's an animated series or animated movie, but they're definitely doing something, I think, with Netflix with Usagi Yojimbo at some point. So yeah, you'll have good timing on that. Over to Marvel, and this is it. This is interesting. It looks like we're all invited to something. We're cordially invited to the Hellfire Gala. Wow, that sounds tantalizing. I'm sure nothing could possibly go wrong there.
I have to admit, I found the opening of this Marvel previews a little intimidating because it was just one event after another and like all these overlapping stories. And I'm kind of, as this is just me, I'm kind of retired from all that as a reader for the most part. Although I did order the first couple issues out of respect to Jason Aaron.
Sure.
More just to see what that's going to be like.
I definitely want to check it out, and I'm deciding whether I'm going to buy, see if I can find discounted digital copies or whether I'll just wait for it to show up on Unlimited. But either way, I will read it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, especially I love the cover here for Heroes Return. With our heroes coming back, fighting off against the Squadron Supreme on page 3 there.
Cap with a beard.
Oh, love it. And old school Thor, for that matter.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, when's the last time we saw Thor wearing his old school costume? It's been quite some time.
Yes. How about, though, on page 6? Murd, I think, would also really appreciate this. Wow.
A back issue from an alternate universe.
Yes, that is freaking cool, man.
I love this concept so much.
Wow.
Do you remember when, I think it was in the 2000s, they printed Marvel comics from inside the Marvel universe?
Yes, I
yes,
do.
yes, I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah, that was some good stuff. That was actually kind of like the Mark Miller's proto for the Ultimates, because I remember they put out an X-Men story that was very similar to the concept of the Ultimates. It had like Nick Fury leading a group of X-Men, very similar concept, and it was really well done.
And Spider-Man was all evil and demonic because J. Jonah Jameson was a creative consultant.
Yep. Sure was. Yep. But how about this couple pages up? Heroes Reborn American Knights. Paul Grist on the writing, Christopher Allen on the art. Backed by the Squadron Supreme, Commissioner Cage thinks he's bulletproof. He's dead wrong. That's a very different take on Nick Cage, to say the least. And there's a
Luke
Daredevil.
Cage, not Nick Cage.
I know. I knew that was going to happen at least once in my life. Okay, Luke Cage, thank you. But yeah, it looks like there's a Daredevil-esque character there as well, along with Nighthawk. It's going to be interesting times.
Yeah, we didn't mention about that Heroes Reborn Marvel double action issue. It's a one shot. It's written by Tim Seeley, and the interior art is by Dan Jurgens.
Immediately.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. Yep.
Plus, any homage to like the classic Marvel, like Bronze Age, like house books, like their team up books. Like, oh, look at that cover. So cool.
And page 8, again, I know these are tie-ins, but Heroes Reborn, Weapon X, and Final Flight. Ed Brissom, Roland Boshi. That is an awesome cover there by Tony Daniel of Wolverine and a very different Alpha Flight team known as Final Flight here, I guess. But yeah, it's good stuff.
So on page 13, Planet-Size X-Men.
Yes, this was what they were teasing on the front cover. Jerry Duggan on the writing and Pepe Larraz on art. They came to slay.
It is absolutely the most important issue of the month. No hyperbole there. Okay.
I'll believe him. Okay, sure. Why not? There was something else for a little. Here we are. Yes, it's an Iron Man annual, but it's not written by our boy, so that'll probably get skipped. But it is Jed McKay.
Mm-hmm. And his Black Cat series has been quite entertaining. Indeed. He also wrote the Taskmaster miniseries.
Yep.
Yeah, this is part of a crossover event for several Marvel annuals called Infinite Destinies, which shows what happens when everyday people throughout the Marvel Universe get their hands on Infinity Stones. Acid dripping from my tongue as I utter that completely wrong description of these classic Marvel artifacts. Tremendous. They're gems, people. Gems.
Yes, Murd. Yes. Preach. And at the same time, we're back to annuals crossing over with each other. Wow.
About that.
Yeah, that hasn't happened in a while. Love the cover for Marauders here as well. And oh my God, they came to slay. Like, oh, the Hellfire Gala, man. I can see these costumes forever. They're beautifully rendered.
Those red carpet glamour shots on pages 14 and 15.
Yep. And then X-Force on page 17, all suited up. Page 21, the Heroes of Krakoa debut. It's a changing of the guard. They misspelled of. They wrote, it's a changing if the guard as the first X-Men team of Krakoa debuts. One era ends as a
Spectacle Man. Nothing escapes his notice.
And a handoff happens here. And I love the homage to the giant size X-Men cover here with the new team and everything. That's excellent.
Again, I've read the first two trades. That series is sensational. It is.
And look at that cover for X-Core number 2, by the way.
Yep.
Such style, such grace. All right, where are we here? X Factor number 10 on
It's a book you
26.
praised quite a bit, right, Ian?
Indeed,
Yeah.
it was up there for my best new series, and I am really liking the look of X Factor number 10 here. Leah Williams and David Baldion on the art and writing chores, and yeah, looks like good stuff here. At the Hellfire Gala, secrets will be revealed, vengeance will be had, and someone's number is up. You'll never guess whose.
Speaking of X Factor, Ian, have you seen what's going to be in X-Men Legends after the Louise Simonson arc?
No, I did not.
It's still going to be X Factor, but it's Peter David and Todd Nauck.
Whoa!
The mid-90s team with Havoc and Polaris and those guys.
Oh, nice.
I think you're probably going to buy that, Ian.
Yeah. I mean, again, if not buy, then definitely read, because I haven't bought X-Men Legends number 1 yet, but I'll probably at this point wait for Unlimited. But I'm sure as heck going to read that. That is definitely happening. Oh boy, yeah, wow. I mean, I assume, because I mean the whole conceit of this series is that they're filling in stories that were never told. I'd love to know what story was never told here. Let's see.
It's supposed to be set between X Factor 74 and 75, I think I read.
Okay. Yeah, I have the solicitation here. Let's see. I mean, yes, it'll literally be in next month's solicitations, but screw it, I'm reading it now. Mutants have taken hostage, and X Factor is taking the blame. But before judgment is rendered for Polaris, Havoc, Wolfsbane, Strong Guy, Quicksilver, and Multiple Man,
Strong Guy,
I love it. Thou, Cooper, and X Factor will take the stand. But who's telling the truth and what really went down at the Latvarian embassy? It all makes sense from a certain point of view. We
can have a Rashomon type story.
Yeah. Cannot wait for that. Yep. Excellent. Okay, we've got some more Pride Month stuff here. This time for Marvel. Marvel's Voice Pride number 1, Pride Month variants all over the place here. And Predator comic to go with the alien stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm.
He was skinned alive. I've always loved the Predator franchise. I just had on while I was doing laundry, the original a couple days ago, which I still enjoy thoroughly.
Yep.
I gotta say the fundamental concept is so it still works for me, and Dark Horse did some good comics with Predator. They had I remember that Chris Claremont did a miniseries that I especially liked.
And all the crossovers, the Batman Predator crossover.
The first Batman Predator is superb.
Yeah,
that first one is excellent.
Yep.
So I don't know if I'm going to get this, but I've always loved the concept.
Ed Brisson on writing and Kev Walker on art. That's a good team.
The last movie was not good.
Wait, the last movie or the last movie? Because I feel like there were two in 3 years.
The Predator, the one that came out a couple of years ago. I didn't care for it.
Got it. Was that the one that Shane Black did?
Yes.
Okay.
And Shane Black's done some, and he was in the original Predator. He was Hawkins.
I assume it was set during Christmas.
Not that I recall.
Okay, yeah, because then that's the only one, because every other one of Shane Black's movies are, including Iron Man 3.
Okay, for pity's sake, go to page 38, please.
All right, here we are. Let's see. Oh,
well, we should talk about Gamma. We should talk about Gamma Flight first, though, because it's Al Ewing.
Yes, we should. We mentioned it going slightly out of order. We did mention it on an upcoming episode because that's how timey-wimey we've been lately. But yeah, Gamma Flight number 1, Al Ewing and Crystal Frazier on writing, Lan Medina on art. My God, the artwork that is stunning. Oh,
I'm assuming Ewing is plotting this book.
Yes. Yeah. Similar to when Slott was plotting and Gage was writing on a bunch of Spider-Man spinoffs. Yep.
Okay, so page 38, because it is the 80th anniversary of Captain America.
Yep.
Look at the writing team.
Oh wow, Cantwell and Trujillo. Oh wow, and look at the art.
Yep.
Eaglesham.
Yep.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
So the Cap shield has been stolen.
Yep.
And Steve and Sam set out to find it. That's enough.
Yeah. And along the way, they encounter a whole bunch of grassroots Captain Americas who have taken up Cap's example to defend a certain aspect of American life, starting with the Captain America of the railways.
Oh, wow.
Riding the rails. All right.
This is a really cool concept. And just in general, I can't stop looking at the Alex Ross cover.
Yeah, it's amazing.
With every version of Captain America on it. Oh, so good. Although actually, technically not every version, because I don't see Isaiah Bradley. That's disappointing. Oh well. Now you can only fit somebody on a cover, I guess.
Yep, there'll be 4 other issues after all.
Exactly. And did I see Shang-Chi versus Captain America? I
sure did.
How about that? Yeah, Gene Lin Yang, issue 2 of Shang-Chi. Looks like it's going to have a fun back and forth on page 42 and 43 there.
And we'll talk about this book once we get it. Life Story. I'm really excited for the first issue of this.
Yep. Page 44.
That's a great cover there.
Yeah. And Sean Isaacs, this one's going to be set in the 70s as the heroes struggle to find their role in a rapidly changing world.
And preparing for the impending arrival of Galactus.
How about what they're wearing on the on page 45?
Well, anything with Dr. Doom, I read immediately. So I'm looking forward to getting the previous issue.
I can't wait to see who Dr. Doom is marrying. The royal wedding of the century, right there. Marvel's number 3 on page 47.
That's Busick. I mean, looking forward to that as well.
That book cannot be in my hands soon enough.
Yes, well put, sir.
Yep. And I haven't gotten to it yet. I think the first issue is now on Unlimited, so I'll have to check it out. The Eternal series that Gillen's writing and Ribic is on art. I mean, that's
Ian, I have the first couple. I have to read them, so we can talk about that together at some point on the show.
Definitely. Yep.
Wow. And this one's going to have Icarus versus Gilgamesh, the Forgotten One. So if anyone can make that character interesting, Kieran Gillen can.
Yes. 100%.
Wasn't he briefly an Avenger, Murd?
Very briefly, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Page 49 for that, by the way, and a headshot variant by Todd Knock. Chameleon's back. How about that? All right.
Yeah, scanning the copy for these Chameleon conspiracy tie-ins. Apparently, Peter Parker has a sister now.
We'll turn to Dan Gavazin to explain all that to us.
I'm just gonna have to just devote like 2 months straight to reading Spencer's run and understanding everything that's happened, because it's been a lot of stuff. But that's a thing. Wow.
I love the Mark Bagley covers, though. It takes me back.
Yeah. Teresa Parker. Interesting. Super spy sister Teresa Parker.
Well, his parents were SHIELD agents.
That is true.
So,
that is very true.
That's a great cover. Go. I'm sorry. Just go back to the. Yeah. That is a fabulous cover.
And bringing back the Giant Size concept, for that matter.
Look at that cover. Wow.
Oh, so good. Mark Bagley, such a draftsman. Love it.
Yep. That's a great cover. Oof.
It'll be Carlos Gomez on the interior art as well, and he's no slouch. And Spider, look at the cover.
I'm looking forward to the first issue of this.
So good. I just got the first issue of Spider Shadow, and I cannot wait. Skipping over the mechs. Iron Man number 9, Cantwell. The origin of Korvac.
I just read, I don't know if it was 5 or 6, whatever the latest issue was.
Mm-hmm.
His dialogue, the way he captures each character's personality and how they interact is so good.
Yeah.
There's a sequence where Hellcat and Tony are talking, and they're in like a really dire situation, and they find a way to kind of crack wise about what they're experiencing. And it's just so spot on. Like, again, if you're not reading this series and you love like Marvel at its best, at the essence of a character, you must read this series. It is the most exciting Iron Man I've read, probably since the Fraction period.
Yeah.
It's superb.
Absolutely.
And look at those covers.
It's so good. Alex Ross is just turning it out.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he has been for the last couple of years, but just so good.
And speaking, look at the cover to Captain America 30.
Ooh, that's good.
The end of Ta-Nehisi Coates' run.
I wonder who he uses as his model for Captain America.
Good question.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a different Cap face than we normally get out of Alex. And yeah, that is true. It's the end of Ta-Nehisi Coates' run, and I think now he moves on to writing the script for that Black Superman movie. So we'll see how that's going to
now.
turn.
Is that going to be with Michael B. Jordan?
Nothing's official.
Is that happening? That's not official. Okay.
Nothing's official until they start filming. So it doesn't matter what we hear or what we say. It could easily change before then.
Right.
Yep.
I think with Coates, I like his epic intergalactic Black Panther story, which I dropped off of, not because I wasn't enjoying it, just various factors in life. But inevitably, when they collect that in one massive edition, I will get that because I want to read that from beginning to end. Because what I read of it was outstanding.
Speaking
and then of course there's this.
Yeah, speaking of the end, as we did point out, issue 50 will be the conclusion of Immortal Hulk.
Perfection.
And here we are with Ewing and Bennett still churning it out, and one of the best covers that I've seen Alex Ross do, period. Yeah, you can't get better. You can't get better.
I love when they let a creative team end their story.
I agree.
I cannot. It's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll point out just in passing, right above that was the Trials of Loki Marvel Tales. Roberto Aguirre Sacasa returning to writing in Marvel Comics.
Well, actually, this is a reprint of something that was published in 2010.
Oh, darn it.
He's not officially back. His material is back in print, but he's not doing anything new.
All right. That's fine.
Ian now soaking wet from the bucket Murd just poured over his head.
Darn.
Sorry.
All right. It's all right. He gets some money out of it. It's fine.
So the Donny Cates Thor, I have to read that in trade because I've heard nothing but great things about that as well.
And of course, and I need to read Al Ewing's Guardians.
Yeah, and
I've heard Murd talk so much about it.
Yep, and Ian, we've talked about how you need to go beyond the first 6 issues of Zdarsky's Daredevil, which swept our CGS awards.
Indeed,
essentially.
Yep. And then the other thing I'll have to check out eventually is Strange Academy, because the covers for this always look so cool, and it's Scotty Young and Humberto Ramos. I mean, that's an excellent team.
Somebody at Marvel sent us a variant copy of issue 1.
That's right.
Yep. In the studio to this very moment. So whoever did that at Marvel, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Look on page 75.
Page 75. Oh my. War of the Bounty Hunters.
McNiven.
Oh my, yes. Oh, if there is an artist that was meant to draw Fett.
Draw Boba Fett.
Oh my God. It is Steve McNiven. Yes. Beautiful. Completely beautiful.
Yeah. Yep. And this whole crossover they're doing here, War of the Bounty Hunters, apparently is telling the story of what happens between when Boba Fett's Slave 1 takes off from Cloud City with Han Solo inside to when he drops him off at Jabba's palace. Apparently there's kind of a dust-up between Boba Fett and a bunch of his fellow bounty hunters and rebel forces, yada, yada, yada. Now, I remember reading those tales from, Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Tales of Jabba's Palace, those text short story collections that were published back in the 90s sometime. There was something mentioned in there about how IG-88 was chasing Boba Fett, trying to get Solo away from him and get the bounty, and it was good for a chase scene in that story, and now here's Marvel trying to make a whole crossover event out of it. I mean, the material is going to be quality, I'm sure, just based on the sampling we're getting here in terms of art, but is there really enough story there?
We'll find out.
I guess so.
Yeah, I'll let you know. We will most definitely find out soon, yeah.
Ready for trades, gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm ready for trades.
Ian, if you do me the honor of going to page 91, please.
Mm-hmm. 91 it is.
Oh,
wow. Speaking
we talked about this when it came out in floppy format.
Yep.
This is a great achievement. If you want to get a wonderful sort of history of the Marvel Universe with dazzling art by Javier Rodriguez, get this trade.
Mm-hmm.
And Wade does just a masterful job of really hitting all the beats.
And we do mean
Marvel
all of them,
yeah,
going back to the beginning of time in the Marvel Universe.
Yep, it's all there. I'm going to pick up this trade. It's a wonderful, wonderful collection.
And let's point out, you have your choice of covers. You either get McNiven or you get Buscema.
You can't lose.
Exactly. Go direct.
I'm going to get the Buscema one, but that is.
Yep.
Actually, Ian, could you turn it back to page 89 for one moment? I think Chris is going to gush a little bit longer about something that can be found there.
Yes. The Tomb of Dracula.
So, when I think about Marvel in the Bronze Age, and sort of like what was the essence of that era and what captured Marvel at its most dynamic, it's this series and a couple others. But this is a groundbreaking. We've talked about this on the show many times, but this is a groundbreaking series. Storytelling, the just jaw-dropping Gene Colan, Tom Palmer art. The Wolfman took a different approach to Dracula. The fantastic. I still think one of the best supporting cast in any comic book title. Blade, of course, is introduced here. But the Colan Palmer artwork is some of the greatest artwork of the Marvel Bronze Age.
Yeah.
So if you love the Dracula myth, this is obviously another take on it, and it's in the Marvel universe. But it's certainly its own thing. But just for the artwork alone, and Wolfman's storytelling is wonderful. It's an absolute classic. Absolute classic.
Well, sure. Well, didn't Blade premiere here, if I remember correctly?
Yep, sure did.
Issue 10.
Yep.
And he's recurring supporting character throughout the series.
Yep. And on the very next page, I'll point out real quick. It's been printed a bunch of times. This is a brand new printing of it. If you have not read Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey's masterpiece of a Young Avengers run, do so.
I've never read it.
It's gorgeous.
It is absolutely gorgeous. It's one of my favorites.
That's enough for me.
And you'd also be supporting Norton because Mike Norton did a whole bunch of background stuff for Jamie McKelvey in this. It's not listed as in the pencils, but I do remember that from when the artwork did actually occur. It's a terrific series, and you may very well be seeing a bunch of these characters show up in the MCU soon because you've already seen one or two of them, and you're going to be seeing probably 2 or 3 more. So, yep, good stuff.
Are we ready for the rest of the book?
Let me just check real quick here, see if there's anything else that's worth noting. I think I'm good to go.
Murd?
Avanti.
All right, here we are. Oh, actually, you know what? Just in passing, I know you were lukewarm on it, Chris, but
I only read the first issue. I have to finish the story. So
yeah, page 106, the collection of the U.S. Agent American Zealot by Chris
Priest.
Yep.
Yeah, the first issue didn't bowl me over, but it could just be a slow burn. So I have to read the rest of it.
Yep. And George Jonti on the artwork there, who worked on the early Buffy books.
That's right.
Alrighty. Here we are. More comics. Here we are with Dynamite. Dynamite Lives by Fred Van.
Dynamite.
And is that Ash? Or is it just a dude with a chainsaw?
No, it's definitely Ash.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Because if you're gonna have a whole bunch of zombies, you gotta eventually get Ash Williams, and I'm glad that we have that on 174. I know that they have the license, so they might as well use it. And Fred Van Lente and Vincenzo Caruto tell us the Dynamite Lives story with now more chainsaw action. Saw the musical version of Army of Darkness one time.
You know, I'm ashamed to say I've yet to see that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's I have to.
Evil Dead. Evil Dead the musical was fantastic. I loved it. They had that. They did a Gallagher-esque tarp for the first 3 rows because they knew that people were going to get blood and guts on them. So yeah, it was good stuff.
It's like going to a Guar concert, which I did do in the 90s. All right. Look at page 216. Giles is a vampire. That's kind of a chilling image.
That's yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead a bit.
No worries.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer Tea Time #1. Giles is always my favorite character in the Buffyverse.
Yeah, he's definitely the most interesting. He's got a one heck of a backstory.
Oh, it's a great backstory.
Yep. An original graphic novel, 80 Days, on page 210. A.C. Esguerra.
Beautiful cover. Beautiful cover.
Absolutely gorgeous. Can love outfly the shadow of war. Jay wants nothing more than to fly the skies in perfect solitude and perfect freedom, or so he thinks until he crosses paths with a mysterious thief named Fix, whose tricks and charms draw him into the struggle against the looming aviation guild to which Jay owes his very being. Sounds fascinating. And the artwork is very pretty.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. It was on 210. Yes, here's that.
Ian, that's a great image.
Yes, it is. 216. Yep.
Now, Ian, I mean, as much as I love the Buffy universe, I haven't read the comic in quite a few years.
Yes.
This is a new reality, isn't it?
Yes, it
is. Are these comics a new reality? Okay.
This is a new reality. They've had some crossover into the old reality.
Oh, they have. So the TV reality still exists in a sense. Okay.
Yes, it does. I'm not reading it, but I know in a very recent issue they actually cross over into like a season 1 or 2 episode when
really,
yeah, when Giles and Buffy's mother were young.
Oh, when they become teenagers in their minds.
Yes, apparently in a very recent issue they cross over at that very moment. Yeah, so
that was, I want to say that was season 3, I think
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? That show meant so much to me. I have to go back. I haven't watched it in such a long time, but
yeah, I watched it all long after it aired. I sat down and I watched pretty much, and then I started watching Angel as if it was airing while I was watching it. So like I would go back and forth between an Angel and a Buffy, like it was happening, and it was a good way to watch it. That's
a great way. Yeah, I've always said Buffy's one of the greatest comics that was never a comic until it became a comic. But
and what was the future one? Was that Frey? I think?
Frey.
Yeah, that was really good too.
It was very good. Yep. Sorry, guys. So what else would you look at in Boom?
I don't think of anything else really catches my eye in Boom this month.
Neither for me too. Yeah.
Yep, nor I.
Okay, we move forward, and they went ahead and gave us all these manga month essentials, but I'm just going to wait until we're actually there. So I'm just going to keep on moving. Although I will mention featured item, page 233, the return of Captain Harlock, space pirate Captain Harlock. It's an epic new story in the Harlock saga, set within the timeline of the original series. Harlock is a very, very famous anime and manga as well, and it's nice to see new stories within that. Leiji Matsumoto is the writer on this, and Jerome Alquier is co-writer and artist on this particular one here, and that's on page 233 for any of you who are Harlock fans.
Page 238, Abstract Comics, Terry Moore's imprint, issue 5 of Serial. I have issue 1 on my nightstand. I haven't read it yet, so I'll have to talk about that in a future Comic Talk episode. But again, continuing his Moore-verse.
Yep.
All great.
And a nice big cover for it on the very next page.
Let's take a look at Aftershock. You've got some great creators here.
Well, before we jump that far,
go ahead.
Yeah, right there on the page where we currently are, under our friends at Action Lab Danger Zone. I don't have that many opportunities to talk about Action Lab publications these days, but this sounds kind of interesting. The S Factor #1, which is the story of an aiding former teenage sidekick who is trying to reinvent himself as an adult by doing a guest shot on the S Factor, which is a reality show that's like The Bachelor for superheroes. So it's this former sidekick surrounded by a bunch of costumed superwomen and just scandalizing the superhero who had been his mentor in so doing.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Interesting, slightly cheesy concept. But
and it's art by someone whose name is Chris Panda. His name is Chris
he's not
Panda.
a sad little panda.
It's a sad panda.
What?
South Park reference.
Yes, I'm sure the Chris Panda has heard it before.
Peter Milligan. Peter Milligan.
242. Peter Milligan and Anaki Miranda out of Aftershock, Out of Body #1. When Dan Collins wakes to find his life hanging by a thread, he must use astral projection to discover who tried to kill him. Who is the beautiful mystic who tries to help him? Why does August Frine want Dan's soul? And what does it have to do with a demon who seems to be Dorian Gray? All right, this is weird, and it sounds like a Peter Milligan book to me.
He's even dragging Oscar Wilde into it.
Yep.
And to be even more disturbed on the next page.
Yep.
Go to page 244, please.
Oh my!
Look at that creative team.
Yep, Paul Tobin and Andrea Moody. Brand new horror series.
Sealed in a cave before the dawn of man, released by a crazed madman, Bunny Mask walks our world once more. Okay, that's enough for me to want to read it.
Now,
the rest of it, but
I'm never going to look at Bad Bunny the same way again.
It looks like zombie Adriana Grande, don't you think?
Oh my God! Now I can't unsee it. Thanks, Murd.
My gift to you.
But of course,
the glory Murd.
This is another interesting concept from Aftershock this month. 7 Swords, which appears to be kind of like a league of extraordinary swashbucklers. It's a set in, I guess, like 18th century France.
Yeah, 3 Musketeers,
Yep, 3 Musketeers, plus Don Juan, plus Captain Blood, plus Cyrano de Bergerac, to name a few. So yeah, probably even earlier than 18th century. But yeah, it's a bunch of classic literary figures. Anybody you can picture Errol Flynn playing is potentially a character in this book.
Yep. Yeah, Aftershock continues to impress. That's all I'll say. Yep. And then a whole bunch of ongoings from them. Let's see, any trades here? Nah, let's go ahead and move forward.
What else the back of the book can sometimes be overwhelming. What else do you guys have that jumped out at you from certain publishers? I don't have a lot this month myself, but
yeah, I'll be scrolling through real quick here, but you know, as usual, I scroll and then I point out more than anything else. Merge, got anything in Archie this month?
Oh yes, we must pause at Archie.
Yes.
Page 263. A concept that did not trigger the involuntary eye roll from me that I thought it would. It's The Mighty Crusaders, The Shield #1, first issue in an all-new series of Mighty Crusaders one-shots by Rob Liefeld. So here we go. It's MLJ Reborn, courtesy of old Robbie boy. And he's starting with the first patriotic superhero in comics, The Shield.
Wow.
Who did predate Captain America, correct?
He did.
Yeah, okay.
Not by all that much, but he did.
Yeah.
Yep. And mind you, I mean, The Shield has been published by like every single publisher. I feel like I remember the very short time that DC Comics had stuff coming out with these guys, and they showed up in a whole bunch of DC Comics in crossovers, and I think there was even a miniseries for a short time.
I think so. Yeah, the Red Circle they called that event because
there you go.
That's right.
That was an imprint that Archie had in the early 80s, I think, featuring these characters, and so it's kind of become associated with them. In fact, Archie is using the Red Circle brand again for this thing that Liefeld is doing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, and the Red Circle was used in Riverdale as well.
Well, there we go. Liefeld gets a chance to spew his DNA all over another classic patriotic character.
Yes,
He's
he
had
does.
Captain America, he's had the Fighting American, and now it's the Shield's turn.
Yep.
And you know what? I am going to give it a try.
There you go. Page 269, some slouch we've never heard of, Alan Moore, has a compendium out. Providence, the compendium.
I haven't read Providence.
Yeah, this is the first time it's all collected in one 480-page giant tome of a compendium. And it's
Jay Burroughs, good artist.
Yep, Jay
Jason
Burroughs on horror with Alan Moore.
All in color for 300 dimes. And you know what? I'm in.
There you go.
Just the kind of package I like to have in my collection.
Murd has spoken.
Excellent.
I'm I mean, you'll get there eventually, but I'm at page 305.
Okay. Before you do,
yeah, there's a new J. Michael Straczynski here. Yep.
Exactly. Moths, 1 of 6 by JMS. It's the next chapter in the Resistance series of books that he's been doing out of AWA Upshot.
Have you read this? I haven't read Resistance at all.
No, I haven't. I've heard it's pretty good from what I've been hearing on the grapevine. But this is the next collection, and Mike Choi on art. So that draws me even further to this one. So yeah, Moths #1 draws me closer, like a flame. To a flame.
The profundities of Levinstein.
But it goes.
I love this guy. Oh.
All right. You said 305, right?
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. Murd, you got anything before then?
Probably not.
Resignation.
Whatever. Yeah.
Wait a minute. We do have something on page 299, Ian.
Why, yes, but of course, I will go ahead and go there right now. Here we are.
I do mean we, because we're both going to be interested.
Oh,
look at that.
It is the terror that flaps in the night.
Yes, it is a collection of Darkwing Duck comics. Yep, a new series featuring awesome 1980s and 90s comics based on the classic Disney afternoon TV cartoons. And Volume 1 is, in fact, Darkwing Duck, an adaptation of the Just Us Justice Ducks.
Oh my God. And it's all from the pages of Disney Adventures magazine, which I probably still have some random issues of sitting around my mom's place. I used to have a subscription to it. They even published some Gargoyles comics back in the day. And yeah, I'm happy to see these returning in one form or another, because I'm sure they've just been sitting on a shelf somewhere. Very good.
Coming out through Fantagraphics, of all people.
Interesting. Oh, good for them. All right. I will scroll to where you wish me to scroll. 305.
Thanks, honey.
What do we got?
We got the new Overstreet.
There you go.
So I'm out of the back issue game, but I always like to acknowledge just how vitally important this guide is. It's been around now for 50 years. And sorry, I'm plugging my computer because its power's dying.
No worries.
It's always great to see Overstreet every year, and it's always chock full of great articles, and just it's if you're involved in back issues, buying or selling, it's absolutely essential.
Oh yeah.
And then on subsequent pages, on page 309, they've got the big bold version of the Overstreet with the Golden Age Daredevil on the cover by Buzz.
Wow. Nice.
Buzz gets to draw that other Daredevil.
Exactly. Very cool.
And then on page 311, some years back, Pants and I did a video about grading comics.
Yep, we still get occasional comments on that video. Actually, it's still
terrific.
Yep, still getting viewers.
That's wonderful. But in it, I talked extensively about the Overstreet grading guide, which is such a useful tool if you're interested in learning more about grading and applying those lessons. So I highly recommend that publication as well. That's in its 6th edition.
Mm-hmm. Very next page, they spotlight it, and yeah, I will mention it because it does look cool. The Girl from the Sea on page 312. 15-year-old Morgan has a secret. She can't wait to escape the perfect little island where she lives. She's desperate to finish high school and escape her sad divorced mom, her volatile little brother, and worst of all, her great group of friends who don't understand Morgan at all. Because really, Morgan's biggest secret is that she has a lot of secrets, including the one about wanting to kiss another girl. Then one night, Morgan is saved from drowning by a mysterious girl named Kettle, or Kelty, that is. The two
Kelty,
become
right?
friends.
One letter off Kelpie, as in the
Yes,
Scottish horse, right?
indeed. The two become friends, and suddenly life on the island doesn't seem so stifling anymore. But of course, Kelty has some secrets of her own. This looks very cool. Molly Knox on the writing and the art on this one, and the cover art for that matter. And that's what struck me originally, was the cover art, because that looks darn pretty. And then a Miles Morales graphic novel that's down here for some reason on page 312. This is a middle grade graphic novel starring Miles Morales. Available in softcover and hardcover. Justin A. Reynolds on writing and Pablo Leon on artwork. I assume it's out of Golden Books because it's featured right around where they are, and they have a Space Jam thing coming out. So I'm guessing that's also who's publishing this, but they don't make that very clear on the placing of this. It could either be under graphics or Golden Books. Either way, Miles Morales, all ages. Alrighty.
Yeah. Cool little something there on page 314. For fans of Ron Mars, he's got a new 6-issue miniseries coming out through Heavy Metal. It's called Swamp God, written by Mars with art by Paolo Armetano. And it's set in the waning days of the Civil War when a group of desperate Confederate soldiers performs a mystic ritual to invoke a swamp god to come to their cause, and end up having to team up with Union soldiers to battle the thing that they have summoned.
Oh, wow.
That's a striking cover. Oh,
yes, it is. Yeah.
Murd, good pick. I'm overlooked this, and I've always enjoyed Ron Mars as a writer. So I still revere his Samurai Heaven and Earth that he did with Luke Ross. Great stuff.
It's a cover straight out of like 1998 Vertigo, I feel like.
Mm.
Well, it definitely has the heavy metal feel to it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yep. I love puns, especially when they're stupid. On page 315. Bear with me. Writer and artist Bob Scott. Molly has real world problems. Bear has problems with the real world. And it can be tough between being a tween. You want to do big things, change the world, and right some wrongs, but you also have to deal with math homework, getting enough sleep, and the drama between your dad and your pet bear. That sounds adorable. Bear with me, the hardcover. It's $60, so it's a bit steep, but hopefully there'll be a short, soft cover to come at some point. But that's on page 315. Ready?
I got a couple interesting World War II themed books to point out.
Mm-hmm.
First on page 348, but you're not there yet.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Just double checking because I always like pointing these out. Little brown books for young readers on page what was that, 325. Harriet Tubman Toward Freedom, written by Whit Taylor. It's a nice available both in softcover and hardcover.
I love when comics tackle historical subjects.
Agreed. Yep, and that's why this is worth pointing out. So the story of Harriet Tubman available for all on page 325. All right, and I will scroll past Mr. Meeksies. Look at him. As Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons, the deluxe edition is solicited on page 332. I really need to read this entire series because it looks like so much fun, and it's Patrick Rothfuss and Jim Zub. That is an excellent combination there, and Troy Little on the artwork as well. Yeah, I'm definitely picking that up at some point.
And then on page 334 and 335, Rick and Morty Rick's new hat. Apparently a send-up of comic book crossover events, Rick and Morty style. Seems
excellent.
Seems worth a look.
Oh yeah, definitely. Alex Firer and Fred C. Stressing on the creative duties there at 334. All right. What page did you say that?
I was on 348.
348, and 348 it shall be.
Could we stop at 347 first, though?
Yes, you
Of course.
can.
Yes, because there's a soft cover. Yeah, it's there on page 347. Spotlight on it. It's from PS Art Books. It's a soft cover edition of something that I've wanted to own in hardcover for some time. Never had the chance. I waited too long. It's hard to find copies for less than $100 or so. But here we have a new soft cover edition for $36.99. It's Roy Thomas presents Dick Briefer's Frankenstein, Volume 1. Dick Briefer's Frankenstein for Prize Comics, a little Golden Age publisher, which is the same place where Jack Kirby and Joe Simon single-handedly invented the romance genre.
No, that's right. Yep.
But the Prize also published Frankenstein by Dick Briefer, which is widely regarded as being America's first ongoing horror series.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So this is historically important. So it's kind of curated by Roy Thomas. He wrote some of the intro matter. And this is something that I've wanted to have in my collection for a while, and now PS Art Books is coming through with a more affordable paperback edition. So thank you very much, PS Art Books. You may have my money.
Very cool. Excellent, and only $36.99 for the starting price on that before any discounts. Very good. All right, now
so I want to point out Battler Britain. So, artwork by Hugo Pratt. Battler Britain is a great 1960s British World War II character. I remember correctly, I think Garth Ennis, of course, did revisited the character. I'm sure I've read. I just don't remember that vividly.
Yep, I remember it too, Chris. You are absolutely right.
Thanks, Murd. So this is just reprinting some of those classic. Hugo Pratt was a tremendous artist. Some of those World War II stories. Again, I'm always happy to see that. So. I wanted to point that out.
Yep. Very good. And how about that tomorrow, since we're pretty close to it at this point?
Before we get there, Andrew, go to page 354.
354 tis. I'm right there.
So, the Fuhrer and the Tramp.
Wow.
Charlie Chaplin, comic, filmmaker, and raconteur, didn't become the world's biggest star by courting controversy. When he comes face to face with the horrors of Hitler, he feels compelled to get off the sidelines and get involved. And then Charlie is approached by FDR himself with a special assignment that will send Chaplin across the globe and bring him face to face with the Fuhrer himself.
Wow. And once again, not available in Germany.
Yeah, I can understand why.
But it wasn't. It was nominated for an Eisner.
Indeed.
Yep. Yeah. Pick this up in single issues. Can we turn back to page 353 real quick?
Yes, you can.
Down in the lower right-hand corner of the page, the thing called The Kana Sutra, an adult guide to full frontal nerdity. It's basically
J.K. Woodward. Oh,
yes, that's exactly why I wanted us to notice it.
Nice.
He provides the illustration for what is basically a nerd's guide to the amatory arts.
Amazing. Shockingly for mature readers. I wonder why.
I'll put some air quotes around mature, maybe. But
yeah.
So who is Balls XX Xavier?
I don't think he wants us to know.
Fair enough.
Noted fictional sexpert.
Okay.
Oh my God. That's great.
All right, tomorrow's it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish Shane were here for this one. This is on page 368. And Murd will also really appreciate this. Back issue 129.
Ooh.
The Bronze-tastic world of Hanna-Barbera comics.
Love it.
Look at that roll call of glory.
Oh, man.
Hanna-Barbera and beyond. We've also got Underdog, Mighty Mouse, Rocky and Bullwinkle, Pink Panther, Battle of the Planets, G-Force, and Smokey Bear and Woodsy the Owl.
Paging Shane.
And did you see what else is on that page, by the way? Groovy. when flower power bloomed in pop culture.
I think Murd has this. Do you not?
I absolutely do.
Yes, of course you do.
Yes, and I'm when June is in bloom and I'm down in Stone Harbor, that is when I'm going to crack that thing open. I think.
Murd, I look forward to your review because
Yes,
no one articulates that word better than you.
It's ideal reading for the drive down to Heroes Con, but since that's not going to happen for another couple of years, might as well just go ahead and read it now.
Mac Raboy, tremendous golden age artist. I think this is a resolicited, or I think this has already been printed. I'm not positive.
Yeah, I think so too.
But his covers, I mean, just stunning. I mean, it's most associated, of course, with the Captain Marvel Jr. He's the Green Llama, Bullet Man. So very important artist from that era.
Very good.
I think anything else you want to talk about, gentlemen?
Well, I always visit manga.
Go for it.
That's
well. Let's pause at Valiant for 1 second first, though.
Why, sure.
Just to remind folks that, Cullen Bunn's got a new Shadow Man series coming out. The 3rd issue is solicited on pages 370 and 371. And on pages 372 and 373, Paul Levitt's and Company's Visitor miniseries is finally having its conclusion.
Yes.
That began in late 2019, and finally we're getting the last couple issues out.
God, it's been that long? Wow. Oof.
Pandemic makes fools of us all.
That's I remember talking about that when it started. I'm glad that it does actually finally get to reach its conclusion.
Actually, looking on page 377, The Blue Flame by Cantwell. Somehow I missed this.
Oh, we talked about it last month, Chris.
And I totally brain farted.
Yes,
I didn't order this. Excuse me.
Ritual substitute.
He's committing Harry Carey with a paper towel roll.
I think you missed it the last time around, and we pointed it out near the end of the previews.
I'll have to email DCB Service and see if they can add that to my order.
Yes, and the final issue of Engine Ward as well, it's solicited. Also from Vault, issue 12 of that. Been looking forward to seeing what that's like at the end. And that's all on 377 there. And now I will roll over to manga unless we have anything else before then.
Actually, on page 383.
Sorry, Murd.
383, go ahead.
Since we're talking about Sega and the console wars of the 16-bit era, there's a book coming out from White Owl called the SNES Encyclopedia. It's a soft cover tome. The SNES Encyclopedia is the ultimate resource for fans of Nintendo's second home video game console, the SNES, containing detailed information on all 780 games released for the SNES in the West. Full of screenshots, trivia, and charmingly bad jokes. There's even a bonus section covering the entire 22-game library of the Virtual Boy, Nintendo's ill-fated 3D system, which was released at the end of the SNES's life. I don't even remember the Virtual Boy.
So the Virtual Boy, the main reason why the Virtual Boy failed is that it did 3D. You put on a horrible headset and you were on 3D, but it was only like red and white. Those were the only colors that really happened, and it caused like 3/4 of the people who put it to have vertigo. Like it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, now that you mention, I think I do remember seeing some of the graphics for that.
Yeah, there's a Mario Kart game that never got released for that was like all the way like at like its final stages, and they just canceled the Virtual Boy before it even got a chance to come out.
Well, hopefully that gets a write-up in this encyclopedia as well.
I hope so.
Yep. Yeah, I still got the SNES is the last video game platform I ever bought. So I've still got it. It's still sitting on my dresser. It still works as far as I know.
Nice.
Of course it does.
I'm surprised to learn that there were 780 titles released for it, though.
No, I get to play a bunch of them on the Nintendo Switch because as part of their online gaming service, they give you a whole bunch of SNES and NES games for free that you can play at any time. So I've been doing that occasionally. Yep.
Very cool.
Yep. And while we're on that page, since we do mention it, both sides of that page on the middle.
Yeah, look at that.
Kiki's Delivery Service softcover, excellent movie.
Great movie.
If you want a softcover version of the story by Eiko Katerino, out of Yearling. Go ahead and do so there. And then to the right of it, Dio, Holy Diver.
Wow.
Steve Niles, Scott Hampton with a Bill
Look at that Sienkiewicz cover. Woo!
So cool. And it's Behold, the Holy Diver graphic novel, an original storyline inspired by one of heavy metal's most iconic album covers, all from Dio's debut album 30 years ago.
Wow. And it's written by Steve Niles, no less. That's a fairly big name. Wow. All those Ronnie James fans out there, just get on that.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
It's like a rainbow in the dark.
Oh.
Comfort and Adam. We're paging Comfort and Adam. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and head over to the manga here. Oh wow, look at that Mob Psycho. All right, moving forward. I'm sorry, I'm going to do it every month. It just advertise something else, people. Come on. All right. All right.
Will not leave us alone.
No, they don't. They paid them a lot of money for those ads. All right. Let's see. Okay, wow. I'm not even out of manga yet, and already they're advertising me statues, and I see animated style apocalypse statues coming fall 2021. I will not buy you. All right, page 401. Talk about a classic. Fist of the North Star, the long-awaited English publication of the classic sci-fi martial arts manga. It is a famous anime. It has been memed to death because all it takes is, he was the original One Punch Man, essentially, because all it takes is one punch in the right spot for him to explode any of his enemies. And page 401, Fist of the North Star here for any of you who want to read the full story. It is available to you in English. Story by Borenson, art by Tetsuo Hara. And it is a classic. And some more Star Wars stuff. A couple pages later, on page 403, this one is a new Viz Media manga entry into the Star Wars catalog. Star Wars: The High Republic: Edge of Balance. Story by Shinya Shima and Justina Ireland, and art by Mizuki Sakakibara. And it's a massive interconnecting cross-publisher initiative focused on a new era of Star Wars storytelling, centuries before the Skywalker saga, Star Wars: The High Republic, The Edge of Balance. And I'll finish this out on the same page. It's also Disney, but it's not, because it's actually Nintendo. Kirby Manga Mania. That purple blob that everybody loves from Nintendo has himself a manga. Story and art by Hirokazu Hikawa on page 403. Jump into dreamland with Kirby and gobble up some fun. Why don't we? Why don't we?
Can't think of a reason.
Exactly. And I think at that point, I have shot my bolt.
Ian, could we end on a T-shirt, if you don't mind?
By all means.
Page 436. This is also for Shane.
Okay.
436, please.
436 it is. Oh, so we're not even on the opposite side of the book. Let's see, 436. Here we are. Okay. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yep, right there.
I have the power.
Right from the animated series. He-Man on his cat. And the next page, you got like a 70s style She-Ra, Princess of Power t-shirt. And Voltron.
Yep.
Shane, miss you, brother.
Excellent.
Yes, I think we've shot our bolt.
Oh God, yeah. I'm glad we did, because some of the Funkos they're putting out, I'm
Galactus.
so tempted by, including the Galactus, the supersized planet-eating cosmic kahuna himself, with a tiny silver surfer, available for $45.99. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna do it.
Now, Ian, if you want, you can, if you feel you're on the verge of hitting purchase, you can call or text me, and I can talk you off the ledge.
Thank you.
I can remind you of your greater responsibilities, your girlfriend, the
Yes.
obligations you have, and
I
your
Pops Anonymous sponsor.
Oh my God. I have not bought a pop in at least 3 years. I'd like to keep it that way. I'm going to do my best.
But temptation does abound. I mean, even I, who own maybe 2 of them total. I mean, there's a whole collection of Disney's Alice in Wonderland ones. There's some Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends ones. It's just best not to even turn to those pages.
Just keep on scrolling. Keep on scrolling. That's it. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
They're called tears. It's a sign of their weakness.
Man, one of the few I still have is my Squirrel Girl. That one I'm not getting rid of anytime soon.
If you're not watching the video, gang, I just put up my Pop Ming the Merciless and quoted one of my all-time favorite lines from Flash Gordon.
Came with Tippy Toe, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Perfect.
You know what? One more.
All right.
I don't need to worry
Then
about.
I gotta go to bed.
Oh yeah, I don't ever have to worry about ever buying this. Just on page M5, a gorgeous,
it is gorgeous
Scarlet Witch Diamond Select figure. Anybody who's interested in buying it, it's
boy, they really got her likeness as well. Wow.
Yep. Yes, indeed. I believe the full solicit for it is on M13, but still, it's really good. All right, and with that, the bolt is shot. And I will remind folks once again, thank you so much for supporting us over patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. Whatever you can give, Murd bows at your greatness. And really, that's all the thank you that you truly need from us. Because, I mean, come on, a Murd bow, you don't get that every day. All right, gentlemen, we're good to go. And let me switch things over to the music once I obtain said music. And a job well done yet again.
Murd, are you Shane's proxy this week?
I guess I am.
All right.
All right, excellent. And yet again, another full previews with Chris Everly.
Huzzah!
Huzzah indeed, gentlemen.
Huzzah.
I am spent, but I wanted to stick it out.
So are we. And now we get to spend time on the credits. So, Murd,
clean that last weary mile with us, Chris.
You bet, brother.
Here we go.
If you'd like to send us an email, our address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. If you'd rather leave a voicemail, you can still call 267-702-6642. You can follow us on Twitter, where our handle is @comicgeekspeak. You can like us on Facebook, and you can also join our Comic Geek Speak supergroup on Facebook, which is a good place for discussions and interactions with your fellow CGS listeners and with us, the geeks, on a variety of topics. You can visit the comicforums.vanillacommunity.com, our original online presence, where you can leave feedback about this and many other episodes of the podcast and also interact with your fellow listeners there. You can go to youtube.com/comicgeekspeak to see video versions of many of our recent episodes, including this very one. We would like to give special thanks, as always, to those of you who have supported us financially, either recently or in the distant past, via Patreon, PayPal, or any other means. We really appreciate your support, and the show would not be what it is today without it. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
One-handed raising the roof.